Freeman's gone down to stand Gerine. Morgan's gone to full forward, and Nichols is picking him up.
Well, West Perth have got 3 going off.
Trevor Green is the other one. No, he's gone to the pocket.
Yeah.
Pulled up short, just inside the boundary line.
A little bit of cat and mouse there. Todd Curley, who's been a goal-kicking forward for West Perth this season, and a spectacular mark. And we're set to go here at Subiaco Oval.
Southern has Hall.
Grand final 1993 between West Perth and Claremont. Sam Cronje gets the game underway. Wolf and Nelson go at it. Even Stevens. Harris had it, and they've got a high tackle. So the first free kick of the match going to the rover for West Perth, Darren Harris. Important player for the Falcons. Kicks to the half-forward line. From behind, it's Mifka, who looks as though he may have started in the forward line. Stars there. Gets a hand pass to Neil Mildenhall. Mifka hooks it around his body into the pocket. Bounces over the head of Leach. Curley lost his footing. Lambourne can't arrive in time. Out of bounds in the right full forward pocket for West Perth.
So the Falcons first into attack in the 1993 grand final, and the Falcons chant goes up as Wolf goes to ground. Green went over the top of him. The ball thumped back towards the boundary line, and there'll be a throw-in, a further throw-in about 40 metres around from the Falcons' goal. Clinton Wolf is okay. Back on his feet, and he will contest this boundary throw-in with Trevor Green. Wolf does best, gets it outside 50 metres. Mildenhall runs onto it, can't control it, but he's elusive. Looks back inside 50 metres. Claremont in front here, and Southern takes a good mark. There was some discussion as to whether Panizza or Southern would stand Derek Hall at centre-half forward. Southern has the job initially. This is Brendan Green. Drives Claremont over the centre line towards half-forward. Mitchell with the run of the ball. Muir opted out to provide the shepherd. Mitchell could have been interfered with. Play allowed to go on. Jones met solidly from all directions. Great tackling by Claremont. Unfortunate not to get the kick. Mildenhall with a good hand pass. Mifka at half-back. And West Perth have players loose on centre wing. Away goes Lambourne.
Lambourne runs to half-forward. Kicks towards centre-half forward. Good lead from Curley. He's away. He's outside 50. He goes for home with a big kick into the forward pocket. A great mark from Hall. He's been paid the mark. Some fierce tackling by the Claremont forwards a moment ago. And now a good mark from Hall. Very acute angle, as you can see. It'll need to be a good kick from there. He's only about 20 metres out. 8 metres inside the boundary. It's off the side of the boot. Never looked like it. One behind. Derek Hall with the first score of the match.
And Simmons in that fierce tackle on Claremont's half-forward lines. Looks like he might have partly injured a leg there. Trainer out with him, but he's told him to go away. I'll get on with it.
Simmons on Mifka off screen. That'll be a fiery confrontation. As Gary Edwards kicks towards the middle of the ground, too far for Lambourne, taken by hand, tackled unnecessarily there by Lambourne. Goes by hand to Malone, who's in a bit of trouble, goes back to hand. Good run from Kicker, but he's cornered, spins away from Harris, gets a hand pass to Hand, who pulls it around his body. The ball bounces in open territory, and Jones reads it nicely and goes right across the half-back line.
Edwards is out here with Starr. Edwards with superior pace. Gets the hand pass back in the direction of Clem. Back it goes to Edwards. Good cooperative football by the Tigers. Edwards towards full forward. Gerine at the back. Freeman in front. Well played, Freeman. Gerine comes back strongly and ties it up. Gee, Freeman showed some body strength to keep Gerine out. And then to Gerine's credit, he was able to get back into the contest. Oh, it's a pretty willing opening. All been quite fair, but both teams totally committed, as you would expect in a grand final. The bounce down is at the top of the Claremont goal square. Knocked towards the boundary line. Opportunity for Muir. That's interesting. Perhaps the overnight rain or the rain of the last couple of days making this surface just a little soft. Players losing their footing. Jared Neesham is working things out in the opening minutes of this grand final. Gerine does the ruck work. Freeman from behind him. Chance for Mitchell. Picks it up. Loses control. Clem doesn't. First goal of the game to the Tigers. from the boot of Darren Clem. They're 1 goal straight, the Falcons 1 behind.
Well, they worked very hard to get that goal, Claremont. It's a great, tough opening stands there the first 5 minutes, and Claremont first to draw blood. Good. The ball was worked out very hard here by the Claremont forwards. They kept working on it. Clem, the opportunist, we saw him kick 5 goals here last week, and 2 weeks ago, I'm sorry, and then now he's back on the scoreboard again. So a real good start for Claremont, some breathing space.
Very dangerous player around the goals. Darren Clem did it well then. 5 points the difference in favour of the Tigers in the early part of this game. Like a couple of heavyweight fighters, they're still fitting each other out though. Wolf against Nelson. Awkward bounce. Finishes up with Wolf knocking it away from Mildenhall. Comes to Lambourne. Hand pass up in the air. O'Brien was set up. Loses it in the tackle. Wolf goes defensively. Southern goes right across the half-back line. Ill-directed and lands with Nelson, who plays on quickly. Too far for Harris. For West, rather. Southern's there. Curley bumps him into him. And coming through is Henry. He drops the ball in the tackle. Coming through strongly now is Burns. Burns outside 50. Shows a bit of pace and hooks on goal. Good kick just offline though. And 1 behind the result.
You can tell us a bit about his breeding, Noel.
Yes. I was
Not his. Burns, not Curley's.
Ronnie Burns is a nephew of the former elusive South Fremantle half-forward Benny Bergona.
There he is, Ronnie Burns, down from Darwin. And this is Quentin Leach, who has the job of looking after Todd Curley.
A lot of people have come from Darwin to see this game today too, Laurie.
There were 2 Claremont players getting mixed up there, Edwards and Southern. Green in on top of Hall, and there's going to be a bounce. This bounce will be 55 metres out from the West Perth goal. Wolf is there, being opposed by Nelson. Wolf gets it down in the direction of Malone, but it comes wider than that to O'Brien. His hand pass put it out in front of Lambourne and Harris. He couldn't control it, and Brayshaw cool in the crisis. Southern puts it in front of Gary Edwards. Storming down to meet it is Troy West. He's outnumbered 2-1, but he's done very well. In goes Edwards on top of him and gives away the kick. Well played, Troy West. He plays on quickly across to the members' wing when Nelson is unattended. Jones going past him. Wolf won't go to Nelson. That's good football by Wolf. Now he gives it to Jones. He's 55 metres from goal. Someone's got to close on him. Good kick from the centre half back. The first goal of the grand final to the Falcons. Brett Jones down from centre half back puts the Falcons in front by 2 points.
Well, I just let the crowd tell the story there. Inspirational stuff there from the captain, Nelson. Clinton Wolf trying to do the right thing and hold up the ball as long as he could, but Jones saw the goals, touched the ball down, and has ignited this crowd, which is mostly West Perth supporters, with a good goal, and he's run right off the half-back line to kick that, and certainly a good start for him personally.
What a bonus he's been since coming from Swan Districts. 7.5 minutes into the grand final. Wolf and Nelson get tangled up in the middle. The ball out to the wing on the outer side. Simmons gets a hand pass. Troy West kicks to half forward. Kick it up. Couldn't hold the mark. West was with him. Met solidly by Harris. Kick it goes down. It was fair. Lambourne's got it. He's in trouble. The ball pinned underneath him.
It's nice to see Simmons from West Perth back on the wing. His #1 position. He's picking up Mark Hand, the ex-Claremont captain, a veteran of Claremont at this stage, and I think he's really suited to the wing, and remains to see whether he can have a good game from there.
Harris tackled by Edwards and loses it. Now Malone, hand pass to Gary Edwards, who's crashed into the ground, holding the ball, the decision.
Push in the back.
No.
I think you were right though, Trev.
It is a push in the back.
He had a chance to get rid of it,
I don't think he could get rid of it because he'd already been round the neck once on the way. I don't think he knew where he was.
Edwards from centre half back to centre half forward from behind. The leaper was Muir. Jones was in the pack. Harris got the crumbs to Mifka. Mifka kicks to the wing on the outer side. This is O'Brien now.
He's in front of the old scoreboard, puts it down towards half forward. The kick was ill-directed, but it eluded both Burns and Henry. Good support from Gary Edwards. Panizza has it. Down towards half forward. Oh, danger here for West Perth. Malone was unattended. He's just ahead of the centre line as he kicks in towards Morgan. Terrific mark by Paul Morgan. He led confidently and directly, and sliding across the turf has pulled in a strong mark. He's been a very useful forward since crossing from South Fremantle. Claremont's leading goal scorer this year with 58 goals so far, 53 in the qualifying rounds, 5 during the final rounds. And he will shoot this time from about 45 metres, perhaps slightly further out than that, kicking to the city end. Very little breeze to speak of. It's a good kick from Morgan. He's a reliable player, a percentage player.
Well, that's the first real positive build-up from either side's had as far as using their forward setup, and Morgan there on the fast lead was able to get on the end of this this pass from Malone, who travelled a bit of distance, got out on his own, and there you see the pass, centimetre perfect, and Morgan on a fast lead was able to score Claremont's second and give him some confidence to start this first quarter off.
Claremont 2 straight, West Perth 1-2. 10 minutes into the first term. Clem and Lambourne. Glenn Simons is there. Slaps it to centre half forward. Jones in the way. Tackled by Muir. The kick travels towards the members' side of the ground. Scott Edwards, 100 games today. Hand pass over the top. Oh, Gary Edwards set up. Met by Damon, but the crumbs came to Green, who goes around his body, and Mitchell takes a good mark. Plays on quickly. A heap of Claremont players there just outside the square. And let it go for Clem. Claremont moving the ball quickly and catching West Perth off guard.
Yes, and their smaller men aren't moving down. West Perth smaller men aren't moving down the ground quick enough. You just got to follow their players.
Clem's kick one, and from 20 metres out, slight angle, shouldn't have much trouble, and hasn't had any at all. Puts it straight through the middle. Now the Tigers get an early lead. They go to 3 straight and lead by 10 points.
Well, Clem ended up kicking that goal, but it was a good play there further up the ground by Brendan Green. You saw him here, had a good look. He weighed up the situation, saw Mitchell by himself and hit him on the chest with his non-preferred leg. They quickly played on and set up Clem, who was in a much better position. But good play up the ground by both Gary Edwards and Brendan Green.
Well, Claremont have got the start they wanted, I would think. It will help to quell this crowd to some extent, and now Darren Harris and Dale Kickett getting mixed up back in the West Perth forward pocket, or in a West Perth forward pocket, as Southern knocks the ball away from Simmons. He looks for the hand pass. There was no one to give it to, and Burns has got him. He overdid it then, Southern. He goes back and tries to tidy it up. It comes to Simmons for West Perth. Clem is in there working hard. He did that very well. Extricates himself from the pack and kicks towards half forward. Oh, what a leap from Muir. And it's been paid. He's playing at centre half forward. That's a surprise to some extent, I would think. Good penetrating kick too in the direction of Morgan. Up from behind him was Nichols, giving away a bit of height. Comes to Mitchell. He's in trouble. Has to get rid of it. No, he doesn't. Cleverly done. Back in the direction of a teammate in green, but Damon got hands to the ball. Nichols' kick was smothered. Jones has it. Looks for the boundary line. Troy West is there. Hurriedly towards the half back line. Hand knocks it inside 50 metres. Green has it. Avoids one tackle. No, he doesn't. Hand pass goes wide. Jones is met solidly. Malone gets it to Morgan. Morgan snaps and misses.
Well, it was relentless pressure there by both sides, but Claremont kept persevering and almost was able to score that goal.
Freeman now looking for the options down the ground. Margin 11 points. Picture of concentration, Peter Freeman. Uses it well. Good looking drop punt. Target Nelson. The captain doesn't let him down. The kick towards the wing, and Starr gets in front. Should have held that mark. Play on the call. Wolf's got him now in a firm grip. The ball being held to him. Crowd think he should have got a kick. Don't know about that.
Shouldn't have been in that situation, should he?
West Perth are changing Robbie West and Darren Harris off a half-forward flank. Derek Kickett's picking them up, but what Harris is doing is running Kickett out of the contest.
Robbie West kicks to half forward. Hall, and in front of him Hendry. Takes a well-judged mark, Brendan Hendry.
He's had a very good season. Has Wolf loose on centre wing. This is what West Perth are going to have to watch. He will get away from Nelson. Oh, he's tried to do too much, but he's got support from Muir. He took too long, and Claremont could turn this over if they're not careful. They have. Claremont penalised for holding the ball. Muir was the player who infringed eventually.
Good chase from Burns then, Noel.
This is,
yeah, desperate stuff there.
This is Ronnie Burns, kick short to Nelson. Nelson is at left centre wing. Claremont are 3 goals 1. West Perth are 1 goal 2. 14 minutes gone in the first quarter of the grand final. High kick by Nelson. Up goes Kickett. The umpire's whistle's gone. It's a free kick to Brayshaw behind the play. And Claremont can get out of trouble again. The back line has been stout so far as they swing it to the members' side of the ground. Surprise, surprise. Southern takes the mark. He's got support from Leach. The Shepherd wasn't particularly good from Southern. Curley almost got to him. Kicks into a nest of West Perth players. Mifka finishes up with it. Lambourne's under pressure. Puts it ahead of O'Brien. It's Harris, I'm sorry. Good hand. No, it wasn't such a good hand pass. The idea was right to Simmons. He's surrounded. Brilliantly tackled by Kickett. Then Kickett in turn is brilliantly tackled by O'Brien. By Harris. West Perth allowed to play on. They got the kick, but a shocking kick. And Brayshaw must get the free kick.
Burns was all by himself, and a little ill-directed pass there.
Grand final nerves there.
Definitely.
The kick towards the back pocket marked by Gary Edwards.
As Joe Smith prepares to come on, and Simmons is coming off for Claremont.
He goes short. Lead is from Malone. Good lead and a good mark by Rob Malone. The Sandover medalist was with him, Neil Mildenhall.
That's a bad blow for Claremont, isn't it? A risky take with injured players, I guess. I don't know if it's the same injury.
He may have done the injury in that tackle. As mentioned earlier, West, that was a boundary hugger to Jones, but he's finally forced out.
Simmons a tough type of character. I don't think he'll let a small injury like that. It might have just been a knock. He'll go and have a sit down for a while and come back when some of the pace goes out of the game, and that's when he works hardest and the best.
Wolf brings it to the front of the pack. Robbie West is there, but can't bring it out. Wolf has a lot of work once the ball reaches the ground, which is very good effort from him. The second attempt's always a good one, Noel.
Yes, he's a awkward type of player. I don't think he's given as much credit. I said early in the game that I thought he was one of the weaknesses, but he does do a lot of unceremonious things.
Troy West now got the hand pass from O'Brien. The kick towards centre half forward. Trevor Green's in the pack. Brayshaw had the fist. Good pace here from Curley. Defensively, Mildenhall, he'll use it. He chips it towards Harris,
Courageous.
who knocks it away from Kickett. Hall, tackled by Southern, loses it in the tackle. Should have been holding the ball. Harris is there with Kickett working it to the boundary, and that'll be a boundary throw in.
What a courageous play that was by young Harris, running with the flight of the ball and Kickett bearing down the other way. Oh.
Two inconsistent decisions there. The first one where Claremont were penalised for holding the ball in a similar situation was a good decision. That time it went unpenalised. And this time it's a free kick to Clem for a high tackle. Yes, it didn't look as bad as the first one, did it? Clem with the free kick in the full-back pocket. Lays it off to Kickett. Kickett kicks short. It needs to be good. Gee. Mitchell was in amongst a nest of Falcons.
They practice it every week. It's got to come off.
Now Hendry's under pressure here. Burns in pursuit. He slips the tackle, gets the hand pass to Han. Han will get caught from behind if he's not careful. High towards the 50-metre line. Muir the leaper again. He's got terrific spring up over the top of Jones. He plays on quickly in the direction of Morgan. Good kick. And Morgan is giving them something up there.
West Perth also finding it too slow to get back in and fill that gap in between Morgan, and Mildenhall almost got there, but Morgan was too good on the day.
So Morgan, who has kicked one of Claremont's three, will line up from about 45 metres, almost directly in front. Not such a good kick. Really should have done better from there.
He should have followed through, Wally.
It's a let-off for West Perth. Claremont moved to 3-2, West Perth a 1-2.
Southerly breeze favouring the left side of the screen. Claremont are going with it in this quarter. Not a great deal of influence though on the game. Big pack up there, and the umpire's picked out a kick for Claremont here to be taken by Edwards. Tackled too high, trying to get through the traffic. There's a player loose on the other side of the ground, Mitchell. He's ignored that. From 55 metres, he kicks towards the square. Freeman, Girine, Morgan in that pack, and off hands and out of bounds. Big job there for Peter Freeman, giving away height to Chris Girine. And now they'll contest this boundary throw-in. It carries both of them. Danger here for West Perth. Nichols got it to Mildenhall. He's caught. Delayed the hand pass. Bit lucky to get away with it, really. And Troy West brings it out of the danger zone. Chance for Harris on a collision course, but he's got a lot of courage. He got away there from Scott Edwards and did it again. Sold the dummy beautifully and passes to Mifka, who's marked 55 metres out. He wants to go. Nobody on the mark. He made 10 metres. The kick is not bad. And shepherding by Curley. Well done, Todd Curley. And attacking football by Paul Mifka brings up the second goal for West Perth.
Well, the interesting part for West Perth is both their goals have been scored by their half-backs. Mifka playing off a half-back flanks, run right down to help his teammates out. Joe Smith followed him but didn't follow him close enough. He was able to make that ground up. A little bit of indecision here by the Claremont defence, setting up on the mark, and a great shepherd there. Good use of the body by Todd Curley. You know, as I said, the second half back for West Perth to kick a goal.
I think Green's about to come off and Downsborough will go on as Mitchell sweeps the ball out of the centre. This is Muir coming into the game at centre half forward now. Morgan, but the ball spills to Mifka. Good tackle. He gets rid of it quickly. Jones has it, sweeps it wide, but only as far as Mitchell. There's a player loose at centre half forward. Green has it. He hooks on goal. Player in front will be Freeman. He waits on the bounce, comes down towards Malone, but knocked away by Mildenhall. There's the Sandover medalist having trouble getting into the game at the moment, but that was good football and quick thinking. There's Trevor Green. He's just come off and Downsborough's gone into the pocket to give added height at full forward to the Falcons. As Freeman kicks in and gets terrific distance. Simmons was up, recovers well. Very little pressure on him as he goes to the centre square. Puts it out in front of O'Brien. Good kick. Panizza was into his back. Oh, had to be a kick. Jones recovers it for Claremont. This is Henry. Hand wants it on the other side of the ground. He spears to centre half forward. Goes more directly. This is Green again. Brendan Green, and here's Morgan again. It's the forward line's functioning well for the Tigers, but they have to kick goals from the opportunities that they're creating.
Well, we saw Morgan have a shot a while ago, and I don't think he followed through. I think he stabbed at the ball more. He's 48 metres out now. You'll see a better effort from him this time. I think he'll put the full weight of his body behind it.
Well, he's a little bit further out than he was last time. He's just left of centre, but almost directly in front. Claremont kicking to the goal at the city end. That is a much better kick. Terrific kick from Paul Morgan. That's his second. Claremont have their fourth. They're 4-3. West Perth are 2-2.
Well, once again, Brendan Green was on the end of that goal. He's been very busy through the centre, but Claremont just showing a little bit more composure here. You'll notice every time the Claremont defender gets the ball, he holds on it until he can do something with it. There, in that particular case, Henry found Green, who hit Morgan on the chest, and he had no trouble from 50 metres kicking that because he kicked accurately because he kicked through the ball rather than stabbing at it like he did the previous occasion.
Margin back to 13 points. Comments from Noel Carter. He knows plenty about grand final atmosphere. There's the bounce. Nelson beats Wolf. Mildenhall can't get away with it because Wolf again, the second attempt, tied it up. And that's excellent work after contesting the ruck knock to put pressure on Mildenhall and prevent him from getting away with it. He goes again and beats Nelson, but he knocked it straight to Harris that time. The kick to half forward, Burns and Henry. Henry, good judgment.
He's a bit Wangaminish at times, isn't he?
22 votes in the Sandover medal on Monday night, Brendan Hendry. Gives you some idea of his season. The ball's on the outer side. Troy West was tripped and he'll take a free kick. Allowed and called to play on now. The kick to centre half forward. In front, West. Spoilt by Kickett. Kickett barges through the traffic. Gets it away to Mitchell. Mitchell hand passes to Malone on the wing on the outer side. Over the top he goes. This is Gary Edwards from 60 metres. Good kick on the way. Freeman's in front of the pack and knocks it through. Clem, the danger man, was there lurking.
And Paul Morgan going crook at Edwards, his teammate and centreman. He made good position at centre half forward from just where he kicked the ball before, and but Edwards decided to go long.
Tuvey warming up well.
Yes, Mifka has the ball in the back pocket. Short to Lambourne. Muir gets there late.
Geez, the greatest highlight of this game so far has been the non-performance so far of Robbie West.
The two Sandover medalists. Mildenhall also having trouble.
Well, he was in the game early, but I don't think West's been in a couple of contests, but he has had no influence in this game whatsoever as yet.
Jones gets the ball wide to Mifka. Gee, doesn't he run hard? Kicks down towards the half-forward line. Panizza in best position to mark and does. In front of O'Brien. The Claremont backline has been terrific so far. Good kick finds Scott Edwards. He's still at half-back. They've got some work to do yet. They use the ball so well. Gary Edwards takes the mark at right centre wing. Claremont just working the ball methodically around the outer side of the ground. They lead by 14 points. And here's Panizza now doing a Mifka. Running hard from that back line. Daryl Panizza. Fairest and best at Claremont last year. Kicks the ball inside 50 metres. Gerine gets his opponent under it, but went under it himself. Knocked on cleverly by Morgan to Muir, who gets rid of one tackler. This is Malone. In the square is Clem for number 3. Claremont at 5-4, West Perth at 2-2, and there are some Claremont supporters here.
Yeah, well, sensational build-up there by Claremont. They just keep using the ball. I've mentioned before how they hold on to it until they can do something. It was a very clever knockout there to a teammate. To Muir from a teammate. Good hands drew the player, and they're the easiest goals you can kick. As Mark Lambourne comes off and Rick Tuvey goes into the centre, that gives West Perth some added bite. I think that's where they're missing the drive from that centre bounce down. They haven't gone forward at all. They've got some different matchups now. They've got Hall at full forward on Quentin Leach. They're trying a few things. Todd Curley out at centre half forward. So West Perth trying a few things. Some of them have got to start coming off.
20 points to difference. Scott Edwards skirts the pack. Hooks it to centre half forward. Carries most players there. Jones sets off after it. Smith with pace. Now Mifka with more pace. Pushes towards the boundary. Gets away from Muir. And avoids Smith somehow to get it to Harris. He's looking for the handle. He's got it now and goes over the top to Paul Simmons. Upfield. Tuvey just on the ground. His first touch. Robbie West. A free kick was paid and the advantage.
Oh,
He's put down after he kicked it. I didn't see it, Noel, did you?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was a fair decision.
It was a good decision. It could have been a little bit. Thought he might have been a little bit.
Obviously, it was Wolf.
It was the Wolf. It's the Wolf.
And Nelson didn't like it.
Well, I mean, it didn't do any damage, but I think it's a correct decision. Otherwise, things can get out of hand. He was certainly late.
You talked about Milton Hall and also Robbie West not in the game. Darren O'Brien also hasn't been in it. He's in it now from 40 metres, and the drop punt is offline. So perhaps should have done better from that.
He should have made them pay, really, because what Wolf's done there has upset Claremont's pattern of play's been okay. Now, things like that could upset it and bring West Perth into the game. If O'Brien could have kicked the goal, he didn't kick the goal, and that's a problem. They've got to make them pay. The only player for West Perth that's really been significant in the game is O'Brien, because he showed with his courage.
Into time on in this first quarter, Wolf almost turned into trouble. The trouble that he created earlier, Robbie West.
He plays on with a hand pass to Panizza, who wrong foots West, and then kicks into the centre of the ground. Tuvey is there. With him was Green. Chance for Starr for West Perth. He's surrounded by Claremont players. It was Scott Edwards who eventually got hands on the ball. No one able to take it away, and the umpire does the only thing he can do in that situation, and that's bounce it down.
The umpire let him go for a fair while there. I thought that was good umpiring.
In fact, I think they've done a pretty good job all round. I commented earlier that I thought there was a couple of inconsistent decisions, but they really have tried to let them play, I think. Chance for Mitchell. He goes through the pack and was held when he didn't have it by Nelson, and the free kick is with Kevin Mitchell. Brother of a Sandover medalist, as he looks down towards full forward, and Morgan. Jones is there now, and Smith. Could have been a Claremont kick. Morgan sweeps the hand pass to no one in particular, but it lands all right. Gary Edwards has it. Could have been penalised for holding the ball. Jones and Smith again. I'm sorry, it's not. It's Freeman now. And Freeman hooks the ball towards the boundary line, and Edwards takes a good mark. Scott Edwards at full stretch.
Very good mark.
I think he was hoping he'd go out on the full. When he realised it wasn't going to, he converted it into a mark as he drives the ball back inside 50 metres. Muir up in front. A dangerous man in the air. Very deceptive. And Jones looks for the boundary line.
Wayne Damon also having trouble getting into the game so far. Clem has got away from him to kick 3 goals in that back pocket. And polled surprisingly well in the Sandover medal, Damon. Smith took it out of the air. Muir, hand pass towards Malone. He ran into Tuvey. Now Green goes across the half-forward line. Chance here for West Perth. Simmons spun away and lost it. Milton Hall goes in on Mitchell. And now there's a kick.
Called a throw. He's called it a throw.
It'll go to Claremont. Mark Hand. Simmons gets up slowly.
Ronnie Burns comes off and replaced by Mark Lambourne.
A kick into the square. Nelson's in front of the pack. Got pushed out. Lands with Freeman, who goes into the pocket, and Jones misses the mark. But he's got Mifka loose up the ground. The hand pass is very close to the boundary. Mifka delays it, measures it. Troy West in trouble. Gets away from Smith. He's hemmed in too. Tuvey's got work to do here. Tackled hard by Mitchell. Now Edwards and Starr get tangled up. Again, it's West at the bottom of the pack. Umpire letting it go. Tuvey caught too high. He'll take the free kick for the
West Perth very lucky to get out of that. They made a real mess of that. They had 3-on-1 there at one stage. Joe Smith caught up, did some good work, and ended up slowing that attacking move down.
Hendry, good mark. Ran into Starr's knee accidentally. Fortunately, had a helmet on. We're deep into time on in the first quarter. Claremont a 5-4, West Perth a 2-3. As Hendry drives the ball towards the 50-metre line. Muir couldn't get into the contest, and Nelson takes a good mark. He plays on quickly to Mifka, who's been a good player in this first quarter. His kick is a good one, finds Lambourne. Edwards got to him late. Oh, they're called to play on. Heavens above. Milton Hall has it. drives towards full forward and Hall. Leach at the back, Southern in front. Hall could have been paid the mark. No.
He's played the
He's paying a
Southern.
kick the other way.
No.
Well, interesting.
Man in front.
Yeah, I would have thought so. Leach runs the ball out of defence. Finds Malone. They can go again to Scott Edwards on centre wing. Milton Hall coming across to close on him. Edwards will take him on and gets around him. Wolf providing the run. They've got another player in the centre of the ground if they want it. Milton Hall is being turned inside out as Scott Edwards kicks towards 50 metres and Green. Good kick. Green can't recover his footing. Oh, yes, he can. Well played. Well played also by Damon. Knocked on by Green. Clem thought he had to provide the shepherd. In goes Clem again. Lambourne is there and Damon's with him. This is Milton Hall. West Perth will get out of trouble. The kick up the ground. Silly football, Gerine.
Better effort by West Perth defenders there.
Relayed free kick and now they're allowed to play on. And that will be a free kick. Claremont just losing it a little bit here. They've given away 2 or 3 silly kicks and Harris was taken around the face as he tried to avoid the tackle. It's quarter time in the grand final. Claremont are 5-4-34. West Perth are 2-3-15. The margin is 19 points in favour of the Tigers.
2 umpires have gone to speak to Scott Edwards, but they've reported him, but there was nothing in that. He just put his arm out to try and stop the elusive Harris from going round him. Definitely nothing in it, but it looks like 2 umpires have reported Scott Edwards.
In his 100th game, West Perth a little bit rattled at quarter time, 5-4 to 2-3. Nelson has played a good first quarter. It's not his fault that they're trailing. Troy West also. A brilliant game by Troy West in the first term, but it's the Claremont runners that have caused the problems. Rebounding off that half-back line as they do so well. And Clem in the forward line has finished it off in company with Morgan. Mifka and Jones, incredibly, the 2 goal scorers for West Perth, and their leading contender, who they thought would be kicking goals for them, Trevor Green, is off the ground. So they've got a few problems at full forward, as they have done at different times during the course of the year. Well, Claremont with more kicks.
More of everything.
More of everything.
Except free kicks.
And I guess that's the reason why they've set up this lead.
Well, they have set it up. They've been very clever. The marking contests, I mean, some of it's been in the air, but a lot of it has been good foot passing. Handballs, they've used the handball a lot better, and their kicking's been spot on. The free kicks a little, not much in them, but the hit-outs dominated by Clinton Wolf and, Nelson. And we talked about Clinton's Wolf's ability on the ground to be feeding the ball out as well. So as far as stats go, Claremont well in front, and that shows on the scoreboard.
Quite a few West Perth players down on a bit of form, Noel.
Well, they've got more players down on form than good players at this stage, and we're only 1 quarter into the game, but I think that Jeff Geesham would be asking some of those players for a bit better effort, especially West, and to a lesser extent Milton Hall, but he needs the experience of Tuvey and those type of players. You can't be winning grand finals when you've only got half-back flankers or centre half-backs kicking your score. And
they've had no forwards at all, because Hall also has been beaten.
Hall's been well held by, he's had Leach on him because he's been not because Claremont have shifted their players. They've left their players settled, and if Hall's gone from centre half forward to full forward, he's left his players, Southern and Leach, in these various positions. They just pick up the players when they come there, but Hall hasn't been able to find the handle on his marking. We thought he might have had a mark there at the end, but it wasn't paid. But the big fella Green's done nothing, and the smaller players haven't been able to capitalise on the crumbs. Ronnie Burns, I mean, he'd be there for his goal-kicking prowess, and he hasn't been able to get a handle on it. We've seen him chase right down to the wing and that sort of thing. We haven't seen him kick a goal up forward.
Well, if you didn't know the score at quarter time in this game and you were just watching the respective coaches, you would swear that Claremont were behind.
He gets an angry look on his face at times, Jared Neesham, but Jeff Geesham's gone red.
Yeah, a bit of emotion in there now from Jeff Geesham, as well there might be.
Well, Clem, a very dangerous player around the goals, and the ball somehow found its way into his hands, and he made no mistake from point-blank range, and 2 of his goals coming from only metres out. This was an inspirational goal, the first for West Perth. You call it through, Noel?
Yeah, well, I called it in the game actually, and it was good play as set up by Nelson there, where he drew Clinton Wolf and he held onto it until he could get Jones into a good position, and he had the confidence to go for goal, and he didn't let his teammates down, but he hasn't had enough of them around him helping him out in that situation.
Just a comment that I would make here, Trevor, and that is that I think these 2 teams are probably 2 of the better come-from-behind teams in the competition, and I don't think, it doesn't matter who's in front, I think the other team will always be a chance to win this game.
Yeah, good point, Wild, as West Perth went forward. Mifka
The only thing is, with that, Wally, you wouldn't want to be coming from too far
No,
behind.
I agree with that.
And at Claremont, once they get in front, they can play with their tails up. Tanya Armstrong's been listening to Geeshan and Neesham. What do they have to report, Tanya?
Both coaches very fired up, naturally, in their grand final, Trevor. West Perth coach Jeff Geeshan said they're being too loose. They're allowing the Claremont players too much latitude, especially out of the centre. And he said they don't want to get too far behind the 8 ball at this stage of the match. And he said make sure of our disposal. Too often they're coming out of defence and kicking to the opposition. Claremont coach Jared Neesham, very happy with that quarter, said a great first quarter. Keep it up, continue to get the ball out of the centre and look for an opponent in some space.
One of the problems, thanks Tanya, one of the problems West Perth have is a lack of height in defence, and we saw that there with Morgan being manned up by Nichols, and Jarine is standing Freeman. Freeman's done a good job so far, but there you see Morgan and Nichols, number 31 for West Perth, a decided height advantage. So we start the second term of the 1993 grand final. Claremont with a 19-point lead, but West Perth in this term with the aid of the breeze, as the bounce of the ball favours Nelson, but he knocks it straight to kick it. Kick it off the wrong foot, makes a real hash of that kick, but Simons comes across to give a contest against Jones, and the ball is forced out of play at right half forward for Claremont.
Not too much with Simons from wrong with Simons from Claremont, back on the ground now.
Yes, obviously it wasn't the same injury, the hamstring. Wolf takes clean possession and gets it to Malone. That was well done. In towards half forward, and Mitchell takes the ball on his chest and hit it hard.
Do you think he called for that?
No.
That was great play by Malone.
It was a good kick, wasn't it? It was into an open space, and when you have elusive players like Kevin Mitchell, there's always a very good chance that he'll make something out of it. Now Mitchell will shoot from the 50-metre line, or thereabouts.
Last week this would have been a Monty from there with that.
Well, it'll
breeze.
take a good kick, and this is where Greg Jones kicked West Perth's first goal from, but he was on the run. Well, that's not a bad effort. Oh, what a terrific kick by Kevin Mitchell. A highly skilled player, and that's a flying start by the Tigers in this second term.
Yeah, certainly a flying start by the Tigers, and a good play there by Maloney. You see this boundary throw in. Now he purposely brought this ball into the centre, and Mitchell, from out of the pitch, run into it, and great elusive play by the forward. The West Perth defence needs to get between the ball and the goals and just try and keep pushing their opponents to the boundary, but not close enough. Checking there by Troy West.
Nelson and Wolf again in the centre of the ground. Nelson won the tap, it slapped back. Harris got his hand pass in. Southern's in the way though, tackled by Hall, loses it in the tackle. Now Robbie West from outside centre half forward. He goes long, prodigious kick West.
Oh, well done.
And well done, right on the goal line there by Leach. And now kicked through by Green, but it already had touched the post. But Leach, it was who did a sterling job there right on the goal line after that kick from Robbie West. Looked like it may carry them.
They're the type of things that get sides up and win grand finals. Desperate things like as Quentin Leach has done then.
Kick it tumbles into the mark. He's still deep in his own defensive zone. He's got players loose on the outer side of the ground though. Again loose checking by West Perth. Southern and Peniza both had got away. Well done O'Brien. He blocked the hand pass, and now Peniza pushes it over the boundary. Exactly 4 goals the difference here. The Tigers in control at the moment. West Perth need a spark from somewhere. Good tap by Wolf to the side of the pack. West Perth there in numbers. Tuvey in a spot of bother now. Harris tackled by Green. Nelson lets it go for Lambourne, and that bounces close to the line and over. Daryl Peniza thought he might just stand on the line and keep it in, but that wasn't to be. 321 games, Daryl Peniza.
As though he was balancing on a precipice then, wasn't it?
On the tightrope, wasn't he?
Throwing it right half forward for the Falcons. Wolf gets front position. Neither ruckman getting it away clearly. This is Mark Hand. He's run off the ball by O'Brien, who hooks on goal. Great goal! I'll tell you what, Leach was unlucky not to get a free kick. He was held in the square, but the goal will stand. Terrific goal from O'Brien, and that's the sort of goals that the West Perth smaller players are going to need to kick.
Maybe that's the inspiration that West Perth need to put some fire into their game here. This is a great steal by O'Brien from Mark Hand. Eyes on the ball, 2 steps and ping straight through the goal, and that's, yes, I agree that maybe that was a little bit unlucky. He asked the question, but the goal still counts. They need to build on this, West Perth. I mean, kick that goal. They need to.
Yes.
Then they need to go again and again and again. They just got to keep pumping it forward. And they've made some positional changes too, West Perth. They've got Milton Hall now on the wing, and Simons has gone to a half-forward flank.
Their attacking efforts have been a bit spasmodic, haven't they? Nelson wins the tap. West is there for West Perth, and Nelson pushes it out. Gary Edwards dispossessed, and Lambourne finally finishes up with it. Hooks it to half forward. Burns tapped it cleverly to his own advantage. Delayed the hand pass, caught, and holding the ball, and rightly so. Good tackle by Hand.
Showed the ball a little bit too much to Mark Hand there.
So a premiership captain, Mark Hand, with the chance to drive his side forward. A little undecided at the moment.
He's got to go for Muir. That's the man.
That's exactly what he's done, although it's drifted wide, and Mifka comes in, takes an easy mark. Wasn't well directed by Mark Hand, as Mitchell's called back on the mark. Mifka plays on with a hand pass to Harris. Harris from the half-back line, kicks in towards the centre square. Simmons is in best position to mark. Was well spoilt by Hendry. Scott Edwards gets it to Panizza. Panizza hooks it wide, far too wide. Terrible kick, and he's picked out Nichols. West Perth can set something up from here. No. Kick was a bad one, missed Tooby. Scott Edwards has it. He's in trouble. Hand pass didn't find its mark. Gary Edwards. Edwards is taken high.
Oh, no, umpire. Bad blue. Wrong call. He's given it holding the ball.
West Perth getting a good run at the moment. They need to capitalise on it. This is Dale Kickett. Poor delivery by the Falcons. Simons in from the side. Jones in front, too tall. The West Perth centre half-back has the mark. Sees Nelson out wide. Wolf will get there. Well played, Clinton Wolf, and he gets it out of play.
He ran from 30 metres away, Clinton Wolf, then, and it was almost as if he knew that ball was going to Nelson. And
it was bad football anyway. Why would you go out there? You're kicking with a slight aid of a breeze. You don't go out there. Nelson's knocked it to the side of the pack. Tooby's there. In pursuit, Scott Edwards. Harris soccers it upfield and finds the white line.
The thing is, Trevor, West Perth are trying to keep possession of the ball as per Claremont do, and that was his best option.
Nelson working hard, brings it to the side of the pack. Suvi, Harris hooks it around his body. It's close to the white line. Hendry and O'Brien are there. Hall and Southern get tangled up onto the boundary, and again as they come back into play. Southern's doing a good job on Hall at the moment. She's getting a better look. Wolf working hard there, got it down towards Green, who kicks up towards the wing on the outer side. Edwards kept it in front of his body. Good vision. Gary Edwards had it and lost it. Harris held when he didn't have it, and he'll take the free kick for West Perth.
The ball coming back to centre wing to be taken by Harris. And again, they go almost square to the boundary line, and Craig Nelson. That's a telling kick by Nelson in towards the pocket. Hall up. He couldn't take it. Chance for Burns, well smothered by Brayshaw. Curley, but Hendry's at the top of the square. And there are players running in all directions for Claremont now as Hand takes the mark. Milton Hall has kept at bay by Clem. Up towards Simons, well spoiled by Jones. He couldn't get to it the second time. And there'll be a throw-in at left centre wing for the Falcons.
Well, a definite mismatch there as Simons has got...
he was coming off the ground. Yeah, and now Smith has gone on as Nelson gets it down in the direction of Harris. Milton Hall trying to go through the pack, taken high. Claremont just a little bit reckless with some of their tackling since midway through that first term. Milton Hall just ahead of the centre line with this free kick.
Well, could have almost been pinged for holding the ball earlier because he's put his head down to go through that pack.
Miss kick, Hendry in front. Now, there aren't quite the number of options this time. That's a poor kick. Robbie West intercepts and will punish Claremont. Goes on goal. But he's offline. Gee, West Perth have had a couple of opportunities. One from a relayed kick in the first quarter and the second that one. And they're the sort of goals that are worth a little bit more than just the 6 points.
Beresford preparing to come on.
Yes, and I think you'll find Clinton Wolf coming off and Geraint's come up from full forward to go on the ball. So Clinton Wolf getting a spell now.
Brayshaw puts it back into play. Geraint in the pack. West off hands, read it nicely. He hooks into the pocket. Curley's behind. Missing the mark was Leach. Turley tried to go off the ground. Snapped there from O'Brien. Knocked away by Claremont, again by Brayshaw. Claremont under a bit of pressure there. And Wolf is coming off screen. turned out to be a magnificent day. Good tackle by Mildenhall there. And a boundary throw in. He's just had trouble having any real telling effect on the game at the moment.
Yes, a few signs there, though, for West Perth at Mildenhall getting into the game with his tackling. Robbie West starting to break free. This is what they need.
Girine into Nelson's back. It comes to the back of the pack now. And this is Malone who goes into the middle. Edwards has got away from Tuvey and takes a good mark.
Edwards almost in the centre circle, just to the left of the centre circle. Son of Dale Edwards, a great Claremont player in the past. This is Malone again, running hard. Kicks in the direction of Morgan, and he was called. Mitchell was called out of it.
Oh, wasn't that touched?
Well, the mark's been paid.
I thought it touched two sets of hands before it got to Morgan.
He's awarded a free kick, I think.
Has he?
Hasn't?
You can't see it on the replay.
Difficult to tell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Mitchell certainly seemed to withdraw on the call from Morgan,
No,
but Nichols doesn't agree. So Paul Morgan, who has kicked 2 of Claremont's 6 goals, will line up from just inside 50 metres. He's kicking at the goal at the western end. A light southwesterly breeze blowing now. Gets close to the man on the mark and has missed. Claremont moved to 6-5. West Perth at 3-6. 10 minutes gone in the second term, and part of the very good crowd here at Subiaco Oval this afternoon. 10.5 minutes into the term as Freeman brings the ball in for West Perth. Nelson is the target. Girine will get there. Mitchell was in front. Chance for Han at the front of the pack. Tries to elude Mildenhall. Clever kick. And the mark taken by Green. Brendan Green just inside the 50-metre line. Oh, Malone loose in the pocket, but he was backpedaling and wouldn't have been able to get the momentum up, I don't think, to get the ball to Malone. He's going to have a shot. This is a very tight angle. Would take an excellent kick from here. It wasn't a bad effort. It's just missed. Interesting haircut.
I'd like to see you with that one, Will.
So stop the hair from getting in your ear.
What do you hold your sunglasses on with?
Freeman goes into the pocket and finds Jones, who goes around the boundary. Dangerous kick. It was meant for Nichols, intercepting Scott Edwards, who runs it out. 42 plays 24 in favour of Claremont. Edwards with 12 possessions so far. Nelson gets tangled up with Girine. He wins the tap, but Smith's in the way. Went without it, gets a hand pass straight to Nelson, who torpedoes it to the wing on the outer side. O'Brien in front. Panissa's with him. West held when he didn't have it, and he'll get the free kick for West Perth. He certainly made sure the umpire noticed it. Good looking drop punt to half forward. Kickett's up and takes a good mark. No call to play on. Hand passes and a Claremont player taken high now. Oh no, he's gone the other way.
The first free kick was in the back.
Well, he was taken high and pushed in the back.
A couple of times Gary Edwards has got the tough call.
Still, the pendulum will swing. It all balances up in the end.
Harris goes short. Clem intercepts, knocks it away from Burns. Simmons lost it in the air. Kickett tackled by Lambourne. Henry gets it away to Leach. And Claremont run it across the half-back line and now towards the members' wing. Mifka in front. Muir over the top. Crumbs come to Smith, who gets away. Hand pass intercepted by Freeman. Smith knocks it away at ground level. Good football. And now Muir. From backward of right half forward, he kicks towards full forward. West up and pulls down the mark. Timely mark.
Courageous one too, Trevor, as he lays it off to Damon. Damon goes across the outer side of the ground and there's a player loose. Tuvey screaming Tuvey was 30 metres in the clear and the missed kick has landed with Gary Edwards. Well, that is very poor disposal by a team that is renowned for its skill level. Towards full forward and Morgan's taken the mark. Oh, that's a tough call. This is Green. Green goes back on goal. There's no one in the square, but it won't matter. Well, I thought Morgan had held that.
What a costly mistake and the turnover there by Wayne Damon. I mean, we know there's no doubt in the courage of the bloke, but the disposal was terrible.
Here's the mark.
That was a mark too.
Yeah, he stuck the first time. Harris has it now for West Perth. They move the ball out of defence. Girine gets there cleverly, knocks it away from Jones. Smith picks it up well on the half volley. Kickett, the Simpson medalist from the 91 grand final, towards half forward, rarely misuses the ball, and Scott Edwards pulls it down. Now there's little happening at full forward for Claremont. He drives long towards the square. Muir at the back, Mifka at ground level, well taken and well cleared. Clever kick.
supporters clearly showing their colours today, and rightly so on grand final day. It's turned out to be a magnificent day now weather-wise. Temperature about 13 degrees. This is Han, got around Mifka, kicks it high towards the top of the square. Target is Morgan. From behind, the destroyer was Nichols. Chance for Green, confronted by Harris. Here's danger, Clem. Gary Edwards found some space, and with a standing start, Damon, though, timely mark. Disposal again, a little bit doubtful. West Perth player pushed in the back there. That's Tuvey.
At least he put it out in front, which gave the bloke a chance, Tuvey a chance to run onto it. When you kick him behind, you've got no hope of stopping and turning and going back. So
the advantage rule not paid that time. It's been brought back into the back pocket for Rick Tuvey. West Perth trailing by 19 points. Tuvey's kick lacks a bit of depth. Player goes to the ground in Curley. He'll get the free kick. Todd Curley got a push there from Kickett to centre half forward. West Perth player had the sit at the back. It's Burns. He lines up, and I think he's kicked it. Ronnie Burns has put one through from 25 metres out. Mifka was up. Burns got the crumbs and made no mistake. West Perth are back in business.
Well, the thing there was that the two Claremont defenders went up, too many went up, and Burns stayed on the ground, drove the crumbs, and was able to kick a comfortable goal in only his third league game ever. And as we mentioned before, the nephew of Benny Bergona, the South Fremantle premiership player from 1980, so trying to emulate the feats of Benny Bergona, and got West Perth back into this game, or 6 points closer anyway. But you know, we've only had 3 goals scored in the first 16 minutes of the quarter, so things have been pretty tough.
Well, they've kicked 2 in a row, West Perth, two unanswered goals from Claremont, which is significant. And I think Ronnie Burns' entire league career has been played in the finals. As Gerine knocks the ball back towards the centre of the ground, or Kevin Mitchell very cleverly knocked it to his own advantage, and Malone did well to get it to Edwards. Beresford is in front, took a long time, didn't get to Malone. He's got another chance. Players in on top of one another, and that's a pretty tough call. Freeman, we've seen a lot worse than that went the other way. Freeman dived on the ball, may have picked Malone's shoulder on the way through. As Malone kicks towards full forward, Jones up in front, knocked away by Smith. Morgan had hit Nichols on the back of the head. He's too worried about Morgan at the moment. Chance now for Green. Good shepherd provided by Muir. This is Scott Edwards. Feigned the hand pass to Mitchell. He's 55 metres from goal. Good kick. Edwards couldn't mark. Smith was clean bowled. Jones took a long time to turn around, but got back there first.
It was good play by Scott Edwards. He did pick out, no relation at all, Gary Edwards, but he just couldn't hold on to the ball. It was great, great vision.
Throwing it right full forward for Claremont. No ruckman there for the Tigers. Hall knocks it straight down to the front of the pack, and Harris. Chance now for Claremont. Clem has it, gets it to hand somehow. It's smothered, the kick smothered, and Green goes to ground over the top of the ball, and there'll be a throw-in in the same position. It's Brendan Green. A couple of players with the same surname out there today. In fact, there's 3. 2 Edwards, 2 Greens, someone else. Slipped my mind at the moment as Smith gets it back towards a teammate in Gary Edwards. He lost it, and it's cleared away by Lambourne. Good kick. Landed just inside the line.
2 Simmons.
Simmons. That's no,
Simons and Simmons.
2 Simons.
Yeah, it was someone else I was thinking of, I think.
Foreman.
Very few of them at this level.
Good knock by Gerine. Harris ridden into the ground. It comes towards O'Brien. He's been given a run on the ball to get him into the match, I would imagine. Kick towards Burns. Underneath the football. Hendry went over the top of him. Edwards goes hard into Mildenhall. Now Tuvey finishes up with it to Nelson. Good tackle, good smother there by Mitchell. Panizza throws it out. Hendry had it and lost it. Burns pushes it straight to Scott Edwards. He's got plenty of time, and then goes defensively back to Brayshaw, and Southern breaks on the wing, and that's the way it goes. Although Gary Edwards chips in to take the mark.
Try 2 West, Trev.
That's it. 3 if you count the team that's playing. The centre half forward, Muir at the back, read it nicely. Confronted by Hall, he hand passes straight to Nelson, who goes out wide to Mifka. Mifka has a good look, goes back to Nelson. Bit of trouble here. Mifka again. What are they going to do this time? Back to Harris. West Perth are fiddling. Harris has a look from a standing start, kicks towards the wing. Tuvey knocked it down into the front. Wasn't Tuvey, it was Starr who knocked it to Tuvey. Now Mildenhall pulls it across his body, but Kickett's in the way. Battle of the back lines, Noel.
Yeah, West Perth are struggling to put a couple.
Oh, he's called play on.
West Perth are struggling to put a couple of good, really good plays together, and so, for that matter, so's Claremont at the moment.
Rare mistake by Dale Kickett. He goes in to try and tidy it up. The ball spills out of the pack as the umpire's whistle goes.
You expect those sort of things from Claremont because they try and make things happen. They don't mind making a couple of mistakes until they get the system right, and then when they get it right, it's, you know, they go forward 2 or 3 times, but it takes them a little while to get to practice it to get it right. Once they do, as I said, it'll go forward.
Peneza's kick to half forward. Jones got a very bad bounce, brilliantly knocked on by Smith. Mitchell couldn't control it. Joe Smith could, and he's found Morgan. It wasn't a mark. Good umpiring. Morgan was helped when he didn't have it. Oh, heavens above.
Oh, 2 great efforts there by Joe Smith.
But what about the decision, Noel? I think, gee, that's another tough call. Look at him, still being held. Throwing it left full forward. The snap-on goal is a beauty from Green. Brendan Green kicks Claremont 7th. They're 7-7, West Perth are 4-6. The margin is 19 points as it was at quarter time.
Well, perhaps Claremont made up for that that umpiring decision that Wally Foreman wanted to call, but good play there by the Claremont ruckman. Got it down to Green, and we've mentioned before he's been very busy, not only around the goals, but which he kicked one there himself, but he set up a couple for Claremont, and he's also been real good over the ground. So he's been a very good player for his side so far.
Nelson uncontested, knocks it towards half forward. Burns gets away from him. Hendry tackled and loses it. Socked by hand. Chance again for Burns. Not a good hand pass. A little bit bewildered by the occasion at the moment, Ronnie Burns.
I think he's overawed by the occasion, but you can't help but admire the way he's getting to the ball. He's just not finishing it off, and that's the difference between reserves football and playing in a grand final.
Mitchell off. Glenn Simons back on. Wolf beats Nelson that time. Malone had it and lost it. O'Brien, tackled by Malone. Bounce, kick it, loses it to West, who escapes.
Dolan.
Now Mildenhall. The Sandover medalist goes for home. No, he doesn't. He avoids the tackle of Scott Edwards, then he goes for home. He's offline though. Bringing it to the front of the pack with Simmons and squirted out now by Leach towards Southern. He's caught, loses it, and it's over the line.
He's been a good player for Claremont, Scott Edwards. He ran a long way to put pressure on Mildenhall in, and we've seen him do it on 2 or 3 occasions. He's controlled his wing and also been willing to get back in defence and help.
There's the difference.
And he could also be, as I said, reported.
18 points in favour of the Tigers. Brayshaw finds Hendry in the back pocket. Brendan Hendry. 22 votes in the Sandover medal on Monday night. Finds Scott Edwards. Had a good game so far.
What did Damon finish up with?
Damon finished up with 22.
A terrific effort by 2 back pocket players.
The kick to half forward. Big pack up. Jones got the fist in there. It comes down to Smith, who feeds hand. He fumbled it, then hooks it across his body. Freeman in front of Beresford.
Good
strong
position.
Mark. A very strong mark by Peter Freeman. Hall having a run on the ball. Shocking delivery. Clean bowls the Claremont player out there in Muir. And also Tuvey, who's not having a good day. Now Edwards. Bad bounce for Green. Tackled by Starr, and the ball finds the boundary again in front of Muir. 18 points the difference as Trevor Green again comes off the ground without having too much of an impact.
Downsborough's on. Hall will do the ruck work. Malone up over the top. Hall clean possession, well played. Finishes up with O'Brien. Clever kick. Downsborough just on the ground. Got away from Wolf. Missed what he should have taken. He'll get the kick. Well, he had to get the kick.
Well, that's the same as the Morgan situation, so he's been consistently bad, the umpire.
2 wrongs don't make a right. O'Brien has it. He gets the hand pass through the pack to Starr. Starr in towards full forward. Oh, Leach went miles too early. Simmons has it now for West Perth. Feeds the hand pass in towards Starr. Kick it closing on him. Starr gets around 1 tackle. Goes towards goal. Curly up. Off hands, and it's still in play in the square. Knocked towards the goal line beyond Robbie West. And a behind results. Well, a hectic passage of play. Claremont under immense pressure there. Claremont is 7-7. West Perth are 4-8. The margin is 17 points. Dangerous kick in. Leach needs to touch it and will. In fact, chose to keep it in play. Gee, got through Mildenhall's tackle pretty easily. And now Claremont are away.
Look at this.
Two players running with hand as he tries to draw one. Gets it infield to kick it, who's down from half back. Took too long. Recovers the ball cleverly and then gets around O'Brien. Looks towards full forward because Malone shepherding. Drives towards the goal line. Smith in front. Good mark. Well, Dale Kickett is never under pressure, is he? I mean, he was under pressure.
He was under pressure.
The ball, but I mean, he came back as though it was all part of his plan.
Well, when he stops still and directs the traffic, he really looks like a policeman, doesn't he?
Gee.
That was an easy mark for Smith to take. That was one of Trevor Jenkins's flower bag punts.
Yeah. Well, here's Smith from 20 metres out. Tough angle. Good kick.
Oh.
Very good kick from Joe Smith. Claremont moved to 8-7. West Perth are 4-8. Claremont have answered the first challenge thrown down by West Perth.
Yes, a critical goal there scored by Claremont, especially as we're moving into time on here. You see Kickett standing there directing the traffic. Puts himself under a little bit of pressure, but Joe Smith made the pass look good with a good grab and a critical goal scored, as I said, going into the time on. This is when you can't afford to let the opposition get away from you. West Perth need to hold on till half-time.
Yes, 23 points. The margin again. The Ruck Rovers have to go for that. Mildenhall gets it to West. Malone tackles him strongly. And Gary Edwards also there, number 27. Claremont continue to hold sway in this grand final. Malone, hand pass over the top. Scott Edwards, Tuvey in pursuit. Goes to ground, Scott Edwards, and got it out somehow. Malone caught again. Now Gary Edwards spins out of trouble off Tuvey. Scott Edwards again. Kicks towards full forward. Jones and Smith. And Jones this time wins the day. And Mildenhall on the receiving end. He goes inboard. Wobbly kick, but it found the target in Derek Hall. Needs to do more. West Perth falling down badly across half forward. Now the target here is Todd Curley. He's behind. In fact, he was third man in the queue. Tuvey was in front. Off hands Gary Edwards. Wolf tackled by Harris. Malone gets it to Clem. Clem tries to do too much. Holding the ball, the cry. Not paid by the umpire. Vanessa, Wolf.
They got any boots on these
Gary
guys?
Edwards kicks towards full forward. Smith and Freeman, but the whistle has sounded.
Free kick down the ground.
It was the same situation as the previous one, Trev. He got him late. Pretty well committed. It was only just late.
Well, they've been consistent.
Yeah,
you said whether they're consistently bad or consistently good, it doesn't matter. They've been consistent, and the crowd, the players, the coaches, no one can get upset, not even the commentators.
No, I agree. I mean, I thought the first one was just late. I thought that one was just late, but they were both paid.
So Smith now from 30 metres. Drop punt on the way. Looks okay. So he's kicked the last two goals for Claremont. And it puts them in the box seat at half-time, or close to half-time. And they'll go in with a big break. With a very handy lead now. Well, they're going to be hard to pick back.
Claremont spun a web there with their handball and then were able to release it. And, of course, the infringement down the ground gave Joe Smith another score for goal, but as there's a little bit of an altercation going on in Claremont's forward area there. But that was a critical goal for Claremont. I mentioned the time on's very important. West Perth needed to hold Claremont out, and they weren't able to do it. It gives Claremont that little bit more confidence.
Burns with the mark. Nichols and Morgan were the protagonists there. Burns is just ahead of the centre line for West Perth. Kicks towards full forward. Big pack up. A lot of Claremont players in it, and they'll concede a goal as a result. Mifka gets one back for the Falcons. 9-7 to 5-8, and Mifka has 2 of the 5. And he was a long way down the ground then. I don't know whether he's been moved to the forward line or whether he's kicked another from the half-back line. But Claremont paying the price for a pack, putting a pack in the air.
Too many Claremont players backing their judgment. We see there are a confident bunch down there in the back line, and they all went for the mark. No one stayed down, and Mifka swooped on that. And you're quite right. I think he might be even playing at centre half forward now, Paul Mifka.
Very unselfish play there by Paul Simmons too. He put the ball out in front of a man in a slightly better position than he was. Badly needed goal by the Falcons, though, because Claremont was slipping away with a dangerous lead. Downsborough wins the tap. Robbie Weston, Gary Edwards. The ball spills. Downsborough again pushes it out. Hand, kick it, unloads towards half forward. Green gets away. Damon's at the back. Damon will push towards the boundary. He did that unintentionally. Almost found our cameraman down there. Is that young Jonathan on the boundary? Yes, it is. Smith brings it down for Glenn Simons, who's caught and throws it away towards Muir. Muir's kicked to the top of the squares of Beauty. Freeman and Morgan.
Oh, Morgan marks.
Paid Morgan's mark, and rightly so.
Gee, Nichols is going to get in the stride.
Well, that'll answer Nichols' whatever discussions they had previous. That will answer it. That's the only. That's the best way to answer it.
He got away there from Nichols, who tried desperately to spoil. But Morgan's got a very good pair of hands. And another goal coming up here for the Tigers. He shouldn't miss. 20 metres out, directly in front almost. He's going for his third. Drop punt is close, and he's got it. So the Tigers get that one back very quickly, as we've played 30.5 minutes in this second quarter.
Well, Andrew,
again, Nichols and Morgan getting tangled up.
Probably telling him how lucky he was to kick that goal, but it was good play how he worked himself to the front. And Muir set this ball up for them. And they're good, strong play by Morgan to get to the front and take the mark. We've had 4 goals kicked in this time-on period, and both sides are sort of still relaxing in this time-on when they should be really putting the pressure on.
So 10-7-67 to 5-8-38, half-time in the grand final. And the Tigers in control, and players getting...
Claremont players not particularly happy with the way Nichols is dealing with Morgan.
No, I don't think there's any need to carry on after the siren. No, that is a dangerous situation. Better to get off the ground, have a look at the situation as the umpire has a word. Umpire Trevor Garrett, the reserve umpire to Andrew Nichols, number 31 for West Perth, and he's giving back as much as he was getting there. And Nelson also having a word with the umpires.
Well, it's not going to make any difference now, Nelly. You need to get inside, compose yourself, and get back out and do something about it, you know, when the game commences in the third quarter, because the umpires aren't going to change any decisions now.
Comments there from Noel Carter. Nelson wouldn't be too happy with the situation. West Perth down at half-time, trailing by 29 points. And there's some of the reasons. Clem, Morgan, both with 3. Morgan's been very good in front of goals. Clem went out of the game in that second quarter slightly, and Joe Smith bobbed up with 2. And you can see the reasons why West Perth are in trouble. No forwards. Mifka and Jones, both defensive players, and Burns and O'Brien chipping in, but they really had no focal point in front, Noel.
No, they haven't. They haven't been able to get Derek Hall into the game, or any of those smarter forwards. Todd Curley probably be lucky to have 2 or 3 touches for the whole half, and it's a credit also to the defence of Claremont. They've been able to shut these players down. There you can see as far as the stats go, Claremont has certainly held sway in the kicking and the marking and handball department. Free kicks have gone a little bit West Perth's way, but it hasn't helped them, because in the hit-out department, Claremont's little men, most importantly, have been on the bottom, been at the bottom of those 27 hit-outs or 26 hit-outs, and that's where they've pushed the ball forward, and that's where the likes of Brendan Green and Gary Edwards and Scott Edwards have really held sway in this game.
Worthy winner he was too, without doubt one of the best players in the WAFL competition during 1993, and I'm sure no one would begrudge him that medal. We've been watching some halftime entertainment here. Max is, in fact, that helicopter is impersonating a dog. I don't know if you can impersonate an animal, but I suspect he was supposed to be a police dog, because we've seen some sort of an arrest made out there also. It was an Essendon, or a man wearing an Essendon jumper that was actually arrested, but it's all been a little bit confusing, I can tell you. And the Claremont players are back out on the ground as the helicopter prepares to leave the scene. At half-time, just in case you've just joined us, Claremont in a very strong position in the 1993 grand final. They're 10-7 to West Perth's 5-8, That's a 29-point margin at quarter time. Claremont led by 19 points as Max disappears into the wild blue yonder. Part of a very good crowd here at Subiaco Oval for this grand final this afternoon, and I think they would be expecting, or at least hoping, for a West Perth revival during the third quarter. We've seen some spectacular action during the first half, and the roar is for West Perth coming out onto the ground. But we also saw some quite spectacular action during the half-time break. Seen some high flyers, and these fellows came off the top of the roof of the two-tiered stand, and I'm sure that they caused some concern for the paying public immediately below them, but they knew exactly what they were doing, and that fellow had several mates. Must have been a half a dozen abseilers, I would think, who came over the edge and swung above the crowd in the two-tiered stand for a fair period of time. There's certainly been plenty of thought and imagination gone into the pre-game and half-time entertainment here this afternoon. And while I couldn't quite work out the game that the helicopter was playing, most of the entertainment has been very, very good, particularly the pre-game entertainment. But this was part of the half-time situation with these abseilers who came over the roof and, as I said, swung above the crowd in the two-tiered stand. 10-7 to 5-8. The situation at half-time. Claremont are leading by 29 points, and this is how the game has unfolded so far. Claremont led 5-4 to 2-3 at quarter time. That was a 19-point margin, and they've extended the lead to 29 points, courtesy, Noel Carter, of some very handy goals in the time-on period of that second term.
Yes, Claremont were able to kick 3 goals in that time-on period. West Perth managed to answer with 1, but a very telling part of every quarter is the time on. Some sides tend to go to sleep. Some backmen think, well, we're almost there, we'll relax a little bit, or that's what tends to go through their mind. And the opposition all of a sudden turn around, as in this case, and kick 3 goals in that period. A very, very, very telling factor in that quarter.
There's the West Perth camp, and I'm sure Jeff Geishan has had plenty to say to them at half-time to try and get them back into this game. And Claremont, who did so well during the first and second terms, Chris Gerine, number 25 at the back, a very famous jumper, of course, at Claremont, been worn by their Brownlow medalist Graham Moss. Sam Cronje, one of 2 umpires in charge of this game this afternoon.
Well, Sam Cronje and that goal umpire just coming back into the centre on screen, they've been over the Claremont camp, so obviously they've been able to tell someone they've been reported, or they're reporting them, or something that they couldn't have told them before they left the Oval at, before half-time.
Well, I don't think there's... I think they told Scott Edwards that he was on report. There seemed to be umpires coming from everywhere for what didn't appear to be a major incident. Certainly the umpires responded in number to that situation when Darren Harris was clipped across the face as he tried to avoid a tackle.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot in that, but still, they got to call it as they see it. This was a great steal by Darren O'Brien here to kick this goal. He took it straight out of the hands of Mark Hand. Leach appealed for the free kick, but it wasn't paid. And these were the couple of highlights of the West Perth quarter where they were able to manage to kick. Well, they managed to kick 2 or 3 goals. But there you saw Claremont defenders made a mistake, all going up, no one down to collect the crumbs, and the West Perth smaller brigade were able to pounce on that and kick a goal. But 3 goals for the quarter by West Perth wasn't enough. I think that the Claremont's or West Perth's problems lie across the centre, where Claremont have really been on top. I thought Gary Edwards, Scott Edwards, Mark Hand to a lesser extent have really been able to push that ball forward, and with Malone chipping in there and Brendan Green, the smaller men, they've really controlled the game. And Claremont, as I said, have controlled the game, and the West Perth smaller players, the ones that you expect to be right up in the high, and the stats aren't there, with the exception of Darren Harris, has been very, very busy. He's had 10 kicks and 7 handballs, so 17 possessions in the first half from the courageous little fella, but not enough help from the Milton Halls and Wests and other players of that like.
Curley onto a wing, Trev.
Umpire Cronje to get this second half underway here at Subiaco Oval. Big roar goes up from the crowd. Nelson wins the tap, and again the second time knocks it towards half forward, but kick it, does it well, break through 2 tackles and got it to Malone. He sells it away towards Mitchell from centre half forward. The kick towards the square. Clem from the side, Damon the spoiler knocks it to his own advantage, and a good drilling hand pass upfield to Robbie West. So So West Perth make about 55 metres there, and West kicks to half forward, and Hall marks. Again, a late tackle from Scott Edwards. The kick into the pocket here, and knocked away brilliantly from O'Brien by Daryl Peniza, the veteran. I hope he doesn't give it away.
More positive start there from West Perth, Trevor.
Thoughts about Peniza retiring. I think he's got a good season left in him yet, at least. Malone knocks it towards the boundary. Chance again for Malone. Pushes it out in front of Peniza, who bounces it to his own advantage. Brilliantly done, Daryl Peniza. Runs to half-back, chips it over the top. Mifka coming across. Knocks it away, but knocks it into the path of his teammate, luckily, and Nichols. He goes back to Mifka. He's caught. Gets it to Nelson. Nelson with good vision. Kick is too far, though. And at the back, it's Gerard. Oh, good interception there by Starr. It was originally meant for him. He gives it to O'Brien. The kick's a shocker.
Oh,
out of bounds on the full.
The experienced O'Brien, the good player O'Brien. Twice he should have made Claremont pay. He got a free kick earlier on in the first quarter and wasn't able to drill it. There again, should have made him pay.
Kick back in is intended for Gerard, but he never got into the contest. Hall, unfortunate not to be rewarded with a kick. Tuvey in all sorts of trouble. Malone over the ball, or over the top of the ball. Tuvey has it again, back towards the goal square. Good kick. Almost a mark to Brayshaw, and Leach will force it onto the post. So some desperate defence there from the Claremont back line. It's been their strength all year, and it's been very good so far in this grand final. But there's a long way to go, as the Adelaide Crows found out yesterday. Kick in is a good one, but Scott Edwards ducked his head at the crucial moment. Mildenhall is being harassed by Southern. Tuvey is caught. It's knocked on by Mildenhall cleverly. Gives Harris a chance. He couldn't pick it up the first time. Loses possession. In comes Southern. Gets it wide to Hendry. Back it goes to kick it. The free kick was awarded, and Claremont have paid the advantage. And away they go. Gary Edwards bounces his way around the outer ring. There's no one within 50 metres.
One of the back one's got to come forward. One of the back one's got to come forward.
Eventually West did, but he took a long time. Clem spoils the mark. Oh, Simons was met solidly but fairly. West clears the ball back to centre wing, and West Perth can rebound. This is Mildenhall.
Yes, Mildenhall. It's around Muir. Good looking kick towards half forward. And a good mark taken by Southern. Danny Southern doing it nicely. Showing maturity there in that mark. Kick back towards the wing. Smith on a lead. Out in front of Mifka that time. Joe Smith, he's got Malone loose. Malone at half forward. Claremont have been able to do this very well to their own advantage. And now Morgan, they couldn't quite finish it off, but it's knocked back into the path of Malone. Mitchell slaps it in, looking for Glenn Simons. Troy West tries to fall on top of it, now gets it out. And Nichols forces it over the line. Umpires had another word with Andrew Nichols, and they came back after half-time. I wouldn't be surprised if he's not reported either, Noel Carter.
Yeah, well, he was involved with Morgan. Anything could have happened in that situation.
Freeman knocked it to the side of the pack. Green caught. Damon tried to fist it away. In fact, he did get a fist to that and forces the boundary throw in against the post. 67 plays 39, and the Tigers deep into attack here.
And talking about Nichols, he's been relieved of the job of Morgan, and Freeman's gone back onto Morgan now.
Throwing it right full forward for Claremont. Morgan and Freeman are there. Chance for Clem. Took it well off hands. Gets it to Mitchell. Missed.
Too clever.
Yes, he tried a banana kick from...
standing start?
Yeah, standing start with very little time to prepare himself for it. Lambourne is going onto the ground and Tuvey's coming off, so there's a quick change in the first 3 or 4 minutes of this third term made by Jeff Geeshan.
Gamble hasn't played off with Tuvey.
Lambourne will go on to kick it. This is Peter Freeman at full-back for West Perth. He's been a reliable custodian this season. He gets the ball well outside 50 metres and picks out Nelson. That was a precise kick. And Nelson plays on, but not very convincingly, as Curley kicks towards towards the centre wing. It didn't get that far, and Hand chops it off. He's gone square across the ground to Scott Edwards, who goes to the top of the square. He's got 2 players to get around. He's messing around. Gerine is the target. He put the ball down, penalised. Gerine's made a couple of mistakes in the opening minutes of this third quarter. And Claremont have had some chances to get a little bit further ahead as Simons goes back with terrific courage. He got cleaned up earlier in this quarter. He goes infield looking for Mitchell. That's dangerous, except that it's Mitchell. Gee, unbelievable skill. He drives back towards full forward. The kick wasn't a good one. And Freeman, although outnumbered, goes back to take the relieving mark. Now he plays on quickly to Mildenhall. Around the outer side of the ground, it slipped through his fingers. Mildenhall made half an attempt to keep it in play. I don't think he was serious. He knew he was outnumbered. And there'll be a throw in about 60 metres around from Claremont's goal.
I can't help but think that some of the pressure of being the reigning Sandover medalist might be bearing a bit of weight on Mildenhall. He hasn't been his usual self.
Mifka has, though. Kicks up to half forward. Hall. Southern's there with him, though. Worries him out of it, but O'Brien chips in. But again, Southern finishes up with it. How, I don't know. A long kick to half forward. West Perth outnumbered. West it was. Malone a chance. Tackled strongly. Gave it away at close quarters to Simons. Now Joe Smith. Hemmed in on the boundary. And the kick is way off the side of the boot.
Not good footy, Joe.
Did you see the crutches in the crowd? The Claremont crutches. There's obviously somebody injured there. A little bit of humour from somebody in the crowd. That's good to see. Now Freeman again, a prodigious kick to half back. Nelson had the world to beat out there. Got his hands first to it. Going in hard was Nichols. Mitchell caught. Simons at ground level. That's dangerous. Play on, says the umpire. Now he says, I'll bounce it. Harris the last to get up.
Guess who's normally last to get up from a pack? Darren Harris. There's no doubt in his courage and his effort he's put in.
West Perth need a sparkle from somewhere, though. Nelson knocks it straight to Mitchell. He's caught. Green from the laying on his back. Got his kick at that. Crowd still very much involved in this game.
Well, they want something to happen, Trevor.
Yes, they do.
But West Perth just can't manage anything at the moment. There's not anyone out there that can spark them. Just
West fumbling into his back there was Simons. Play on, says the umpire. And then finally calls for it. Claremont almost in rugby style have forced this into their forward line, haven't they?
Yes, the sheer weight of number and persistence. But I just can't see any moves that Jeff Geeshan's almost tried every trick in the book to swing this side around. To swing the game around. He's moved his side around. He hasn't done anything silly. He's just tried to be adventurous, and nothing's worked just at this stage. Smith
Used his body there on Nelson. Green confronted by Robbie West. Han close quarters, couldn't get it out. And again, I think the umpire will have to bounce it down. 68 plays 39 in favour of Claremont.
There he is again. Darren Harris, been a terrific acquisition for West Perth, as so many of these Victorian recruits have been. Smith opposing Nelson. Smith wanted to use his body. Green appeared to be taken high. And there'll be a free kick to Claremont within scoring distance. Let's have another look. Well, Nelson's hand certainly raked across his shoulder. He didn't ever get to clamp the tackle. Brendan Green has kicked one goal so far in this game. He's shooting from about 45 metres out, 45-degree angle, light breeze at his back. It will have little effect on this kick. And he's pushed it across to the left. So a let-off there for the Falcons. Neither side able to gain the ascendancy in the opening 7 or 8 minutes of this third term.
One gets the feeling, Wal, if West Perth don't get a couple of goals, Claremont could break it open very easily.
Freeman goes looking for Jones. That was a good kick. He got away from Gary Edwards. Puts the hand pass out in front of a teammate. Not a good hand pass. Burns comes to it. Kick it is with him. He overran it. Another opportunity now for West Perth as Curley puts it around the boundary line, and that will either be a mark or out on the full. And it was the latter. Brayshaw with the kick. Well, I think West Perth's first task is to stop Claremont's momentum and take the initiative away from them, and that's a good mark, very good mark taken by Nichols. Jones down from half back, trying to drive something or set something up for the Falcons. Simmons in front, Hall at the back, good mark.
He's got to come to life if West Perth are to spark up here.
He's within scoring distance.
He's got to kick this goal for a start. This will be a good start for them.
So we've been goalless through the first 10 minutes of this third quarter, neither side adding to its half-time goal tally. But Derek Hall will shoot from 50 metres. He's directly in front. And as I said a moment ago, very little breeze to speak of. He's pulled it left, but it's all right. He's got it through. So where there's life, there's hope. And West Perth get the first goal of the third quarter, and I think that's important.
Well, it is important, but it's taken 10 minutes for either side to score. There's been a lot of toing and froing, a lot of bounce-ups, balls being shared here, and for once West Perth were able to slip away. And Jones, once again, who's been one of the dominant players for West Perth, pushed that ball forward, and Hall, in the middle of a pack, was able to take a good mark and kick this goal. But they need a lot more from Derek Hall. They need a lot more from some of these other experienced players of West Perth.
Nelson against Girine. Girine beats him for the tap. Simons goes hard, but Harris has got the football and the high tackle. Advantage paid for Simmons. Flower bag kick though, ready to centre half forward. Lacked any sort of depth, and Southern clears it easily. Milton Hall and Mitchell. Mitchell's away. Caught! Holding the ball. No, he's allowed to go with it. That's a very lucky decision for Mitchell. He was away. Green now chips it into the pocket. Morgan's the target. Freeman the destroyer. Knocks it into the path of Simons, who snaps it goal. And he's pushed it right across the face. And Damon. Do you think Mitchell was away?
No, I didn't think Mitchell was away, but if Scott Edwards got reported in the first quarter for a smack in the face, there was another reportable incident then. Exactly the same type of situation as Lambourne comes off again. He must be in a lot of trouble. He's been on and off the ground all day.
Might have injured that arm of his.
Well, he's got an extra bandage on his knee as well, so...
Got a mismatch down here now, and Brendan Hendry's trying to work it out. Green is far too tall for Hendry. Brayshaw runs across to Green.
Still a mismatch.
Panizza goes from O'Brien to Hall, and Hendry onto O'Brien. They work that out very quickly. As the ball goes close to the boundary line, Damon can't control it. And we're going to have a throw in just outside Claremont's 50-metre line. Claremont have had a couple of opportunities to score in this third term, and they haven't been able to do that. They're just giving West Perth, just opening the door a little bit here for West Perth, as Nelson will get a free kick for that. Joe Smith asking why. It seemed fairly obvious to me. Damon takes the mark at right half back for West Perth. He looks back infield. There aren't too many options. A lot of players running around, but they're not getting away from their opponent. Now Hall and Downsborough will fly and kick it up over the top. Simons at ground level for Claremont. And Harris was in there also. And we'll have a bounce on West Perth's right centre wing. Simons is off the ground and Wolf goes back on. And he will run straight into this bounce down and contest it with Craig Nelson. Nelson saw him coming. Chance at the side of the pack for Nelson. He scoops it through the pack. Kickett has it knocked away. Mitchell has it.
Oh,
who's
so.
that to?
Starr.
Coming across to meet him is Hand. Starr did well. He did best. O'Brien makes a good lead. It won't quite carry. Oh, it did.
Good mark.
It was a good mark. It was a good kick too.
Courageous mark.
So O'Brien with the ball, and West Perth starting to look threatening. It's intended for Starr. Good kick. And Starr will shoot on goal from just inside 50 metres and directly in front. West Perth, I don't think there was any doubt that at some stage in this second half, West Perth were going to come at Claremont. It's just a case of whether or not they can get close enough. He's miskicked it, and Leach is in front of the pack. Well, that could have been dangerous for Claremont. Downsborough on the mark.
Every time West Perth go to put a couple of goals together or put a couple of good systems of play together, they let it down with poor disposal.
That's a beautiful kick. It was intended for Gary Edwards, who was claimed from behind by Nelson. He gets rid of the ball in the nick of time, and Brayshaw puts it over the line. Clem did, in fact. But that kick from Leach, he knew that Edwards was out there. Unfortunately, players got to him in time.
Nelson and Wolf. Lock horns again. Nelson gets it down to Milton Hall, who's caught by Wolf at ground level. Good tackle by Gary Edwards there, and Clem emerges. It was meant for Mitchell. O'Brien got in the way, but Mitchell comes back again. Was he caught? Not according to the umpire. Burns playing the ball in front of his body, and arriving late. A lot of West Perth jumpers in the crowd and red and blue colours out there. Still 4 goals the difference. But West Perth have stopped the momentum of Claremont momentarily. Holding the ball, the decision there against Clem. And another chance for West Perth to drive this deep into attack. Starr, who's getting into the game. Sets it up. High kick. Target is Hall. With him is Southern. Nobody can get that off hands. Play on, says the umpire. Hall emerges. Now Hendry. Goes defensively to Leach. He's hemmed in. Arriving late there was Curley. Chance here for young Harris. Well, good attempt at a mark. Star's there, and so is Clem for Claremont. And the umpire says that's being held to him.
So the bounce down will be hard up against the boundary line on West Perth's left half forward flank. If they can get the next goal, this game will be really on.
Crowd's building as well. I think the crowd can sense or hope that West Perth is making some sort of inroad into this lead of Claremont's, and they're getting right behind them now.
They're urging West Perth on, looking for a contest, as Wolf tried to take clean possession. And Robbie West wasn't going anywhere. Dale Kickett was making sure of that. So the bounce down this time is on the left half forward flank, just 25 metres in from the boundary. Wolf used his posterior effectively. Gets a good hand pass to Gary Edwards, and Claremont out of trouble momentarily. Back in the direction of Malone, but G. Mifka, and a very attacking half-back as the hand pass goes to Milden Hall on centre wing. He looks towards the 50-metre line. Kick it at the back. Hall gets in front. No one able to take the mark. Hendry's holding the ball. Good decision.
Good call, Wally.
He tried to break the tackle, tried to get through the tackle, and was penalised accordingly. Robbie West has it, spears the pass in towards full forward, and Downsborough went back, made life difficult back there for Curley, and as a result, Claremont should get out of trouble. There's a couple of West Perth players on their haunches as Kickett breaks it up. Not a good kick. Oh, it carried to Edwards just. Simmons was getting to him. You're pointing at something, Noel. I can't pick it up.
Milden Hall got hurt in that clash then.
He's back up and running as Panizza takes the mark in the centre square. He's about 25 metres ahead of the centre line. Daryl Panizza. Mitchell calling for it very wide, but he goes in towards centre half forward and Han. West Perth haven't checked all that well. Now Mitchell leads into the pocket. Han is going to go in that direction. It's a missed kick and it'll favour Mitchell. Couldn't quite hang on to it. They come at it from all directions. Back goes Freeman. Mitchell is there. With him is Milden Hall. Mitchell close to the line. Milden Hall did best. Hand pass is a good one too. Here's Mifka again. Breaks towards the half back line, and a good kick has found a teammate in Tuvey. Star, I'm sorry.
Kick towards the wing. Downsborough got tangled up with Hendry. Back goes Malone. Nichols has got him. Play on the call. As the ball goes out of bounds, they go in hard. Nichols certainly not the favourite with the umpires.
Well, you see Malone handballed the ball away, so it was a good call by the umpire.
Good decision.
But Downsborough was a bit keen. He took his own man out.
Wolf brought it to the back of the pack, and then again at the second attempt got it to Han. Clem slaps it away, but O'Brien's got pace. Clem had him in a good grip. Harris at ground level. Saw a red and blue jumper. Nichols is there. Starr gets mixed up with his opponent. Socket away from Muir by Harris. With the advantage of Mifka. Oh, ill-directed hand pass lands with Kickett. He chips it over the top. Again, not a good kick. Put his teammate Malone under pressure. And Nichols breaks it up. And with good vision, finds Nelson in the middle. Now, they should go long. Flat punt again. Lands in nobody's territory. Damon's well up from his position. Scott Edwards is there for Claremont. Does it well. Delayed the kick. And consequently, he was off the side of the boot. Nelson didn't arrive in time, or did he? He's paid the mark.
A Mark Waugh slips catch.
Jones. Simmons. Members side of the ground. Goes short. And again, it's Starr, who really has had an impact in the last 10 minutes. He's kicked it high. The target is Curley. Oh, he's done it at last. He's been threatening all year, Noel.
Yes, he has, but Panizza made the mistake there. He stood his ground and he gave Todd Curley the perfect ladder to jump up.
Well, he can do it, though.
Yes,
I mean, he's threatened all year to do something like this.
Let's see him finish it off, Trevor. That's what West Perth want to see him finish it off.
Don't put things on the board for marks. 6 possessions today is not a great impact on the match. One just gets the feeling here West Perth can get right back into this if Curley can score a goal. 40 metres out, it'll come back, but not enough. In fact, it's way offline and off hands and out of bounds.
Well, that's Curley missed an opportunity. Wade Starr missed an opportunity. Darren O'Brien's missed an opportunity. West Perth can't afford to do that. This is a grand final. You can't come back again next week.
Throwing it left full forward. Green contests with Hall. It comes down to Burns.
Missed.
So another opportunity goes begging, but the young fellow did pretty well. He's working in a very confined space. Mark Brayshaw, premiership player with this club. But they've got a lot of work to do yet. The short kick in is a good one. Gary Edwards.
Gee, the pressure must be on with those kicks, Noel.
Oh, yeah, but they practice, as I said before, they practice it so well, Claremont, and they're confident enough to go for those sort of passes.
Oh, short kick, and it's found Clem. Gee, there's very little room for error, though. That's a good kick. Malone gets it on quickly to Mitchell. Milden Hall is closing. Mitchell delayed the kick. Freeman in front, destroys towards the boundary line. Well played, Peter Freeman. It would be a nerve-wracking job back there, playing in that last line of defence with the likes of Gerine and Morgan and Joe Smith and Mitchell all around you. No margin for error there either. Gerine will be opposed by Troy West. In fact, Morgan takes clean possession, feeds the ball to Muir, who's gone out of the game, pulls it right across the face of goal, and Smith tries to get his hands to it but can't. It will be a free kick to West Perth, to be taken back there by Jones, who's actually kicked a goal for them this afternoon, their first goal. This is Damon. Plays on with the hand pass to Troy West. He's cornered. Gets the kick towards centre wing. Star is in front of Clem. Good mark.
Good mark.
Good mark.
Had a good quarter.
A few West Perth players just forcing their way into the game here. Simmons is loose. And now Robbie West is loose. He's backpedaling and he just can't get the ball on. He does now. West is 60 metres from goal. Players starting to move. Hall offers the lead. Good kick. He wants 50 metres.
It was a great lead too. Good position, good, and a good delivery by Robbie West there.
Derek Hall has kicked one goal. He's 40 metres from goal.
Very difficult angle, this one, Noel, in
It's
the
a
pocket.
pretty tight kick.
Well, that's Basil Campbell's pocket there.
Is it?
A few people have laid claim to that,
Yeah.
including Darryl Baldock. Now Hall with a very important kick. West Perth have had chances to get closer and they've wasted them to date. That's a good kick. Wrong side of the post. It was difficult to tell from here. The crowd behind the kick thought it was okay, but then I wouldn't rely on their objectivity.
A lot of red and blue scarves in there.
Absolutely.
A lot of wishing involved there.
Yeah, I think so. Wishing and hoping. Who was the lady that sang that?
Dusty Springfield.
That's right. Yeah, you'd remember that well. Mustn't call you well. Pam Casellas might be listening. There's the kick. Knocked away by O'Brien. Malone, all hand. It was a hot one. And he's caught by O'Brien again. And it forced the error from Mark Hand. Hasn't had a great day.
Gerine off for Claremont and Beresford on.
22 points the difference. Nelson in front of Wolf. Milden Hall raving the pack, runs into a big brick wall and got a high tackle. The old 1-2 in action, and Darren O'Brien escapes and pulls it towards half forward. Southern got a Hall out of the way. At the back, Robbie West.
Oh.
He's underneath the pack. Hall found some room. In front, Curley. Curley goes back and scores a goal. 16 points the difference now. West Perth have had a marvellous quarter, really. Claremont haven't scored a goal in 23 minutes.
Have a look at the incident on kick it here, Noel.
Could have got a kick there.
Well, we can just let the picture tell the story here, because this is how often you see Todd Curley do this. I mean, he was great against South Fremantle early in the season when he did a good job at full forward. He's gone to full forward now. Leach hasn't been able to hold him back. You can't keep a good player down all that time. And West Perth are gaining some strength here.
They sure are, and here's Green camped under this. And now Harris calling for it in the pocket. He's broken loose. Leach comes at it. Good mark. And that's 50
that could
metres.
be 50.
That has to be 50 metres.
should
He's
be.
held him up from going. Oh, heavens above. I'd be interested to see the free kick count. I think West Perth have done pretty well in this game. Dale Kickett has it at left half back.
Well, they were well in front at half time, Wally.
Were they? I didn't notice it.
Yes.
They weren't happy, though, at half-time, were they?
When are they?
Well,
Kick towards centre half back.
When's
It's found
anybody?
Malone. Malone goes to half forward. Mitchell was the target. Chance for Damon. Good tackle right on Gary Edwards. Mitchell soccers it wide. West is there. In comes Clem. Picks it up brilliantly. Looks to the half forward line. Smith is under it. He had to wait a long time, and that's a good mark too.
Now we're just heading into time on here, Wally, and this is the danger period for both sides.
That's Jones applying the pressure. Smith goes towards full forward. Not a good kick. Gave the defenders chance to get back on it. Damon was almost caught. Milden Hall back there lending support. West Perth defending stoutly, trying to protect this comeback that they've launched. Malone is able to spoil Star, but O'Brien races onto the ball, into the centre of the ground, and Downsborough doesn't let him down this time.
West Perth are running a lot harder, Noel.
They're finding
And
something,
pass
they're
goes
digging
to
deep.
Star towards the 50-metre line. Lambourne gets in front of Simons. Kickett gets back to it first. Looks towards centre wing. There's nothing there. Simons takes the hand pass. Shocking kick. Umpire's whistle's gone. Play on is the call.
He played advantage.
Hardly an advantage when everyone has stopped. The kick to half forward and Morgan. Good mark. No one in the square. Morgan will have to go back. He'll struggle for this distance. He thought about going to Malone.
A bit too easy, wasn't it?
Well, it was so nonchalant.
Well, I think it was because of what happened here on the wing where everyone heard the whistle and stopped.
He tends to play a bit like that, though, Morgan, a little bit like nonchalant, and then all of a sudden he bobs up. I think he'll have no trouble making the distance here, whether he's accurate enough. Obviously, he's getting all the equipment right.
Well, Paul Morgan has kicked 3 goals so far.
How long are you going to take?
Claremont haven't kicked a goal in the 3rd quarter.
Well, this is important. As I said, the time on period, very, very important. Claremont, as we mentioned earlier, kicked 3 goals in the time on in the 2nd quarter. This is almost a reportable offence, is it?
No, he's whistled time on, so now he's right. So West Perth have added 2 goals. Claremont as yet haven't added one in the 3rd term. And as Noel Carter has mentioned, we're into time on. Morgan kicking to the goal at the city end has missed. So West Perth breathe a sigh of relief. And they will be quick to bring the ball back into play in the hope of getting another one. It's with Freeman at full back. Kicks it in short. Didn't carry it.
No.
He's holding the ball. Oh, heavens above. Simmons has it. Now Freeman. Freeman's cornered. Gets out of trouble and can get it to Mifka. The kick is a good one. Mifka takes it just inside the defensive 50-metre line. He looks up towards centre wing. Malone is in front. Jones over the top. Green at ground level. Trying to get it through to someone. Hand has it. Hand looks towards the half-forward line. Well, ill-directed kick and Nichols marks.
Thank you, Karen. Welcome, everyone, to the grand final. We're in time on in the 3rd quarter, and Claremont lead 10-10-70 to West Perth 7-11-53. West Perth have played a great 3rd term, and so far, Claremont hasn't scored a goal in this quarter. West Perth have added 2. And you see Derek Hall now with a good mark in front of Brayshaw as the siren sounds for 3-quarter time. Claremont have held control in this match for most of the game. They led by 19 at quarter time and 29 at half time, but the Falcons have pegged them back. This would be a telling goal if they can put it on the board. It's not a bad kick, but it swings away. Hits the post, I think. One behind. Might have just grazed the post there. A point right on the siren, or after the siren, by Derek Hall. But the stage is set for an exciting last term. Claremont 10-10-70, kicking only 3 behinds in that quarter, and going with what breeze there is. It's not a great factor. And West Perth adding 2 goals 4, but they had a lot of opportunities, Noel Carter, and should be a lot closer.
Yes, well, I can think on about 4 occasions when they should have converted, and they didn't.
Glenn couldn't add to his total of 3, neither could Morgan. And Mifka, of course, kicking a goal from the half-back flank, one when he was roving around in the forward area, but West Perth forwards have let them down.
Yes, they've been a little bit... there's been a lot of their forwards missing, but their midfield players have picked up definitely in that quarter. Their defence has been reasonably tight throughout the game, and you can see there why, although West Perth have caught up in the kicking department, but Claremont has still dominated the air, and with their handballs they've created a lot more opportunities than the West Perth players have. The free kicks, well, West Perth are in the winning position there, but the hit-outs, and as I've said before, hit-outs, the smaller Claremont players have been able to dominate around the packs after the dominance of especially Clinton Wolf. I'd say he's had the better of the duel over Nelson, but all in all, a better quarter by West Perth, a lot more endeavour, and some of that, they're digging deep now, as they've done over the past few months and few weeks as well, but I don't know how much more they've got.
This crowd will erupt if they can come home in the last term. It really has been a West Perth house roll right from the start, and I think they can sense a fight back here.
Well, we suggested before the game started that the crowd factor would be very important during the course of this game, and that it was going to be important from Claremont's point of view to get out quickly and try and subdue the crowd. I would think it's probably 75% in favour of West Perth, the crowd support. They've been able to do that throughout the course of the afternoon, but they have to keep them far enough behind that the crowd doesn't become a factor, because if they can get within a couple of goals, that's when the emotion will start to take over, and West Perth can expect a huge lift from what is a very good crowd.
It has been a spectacular day here, colourful, and the WAFL have done it very well in the pre-match and half-time entertainment. Noel, this is West Perth into attack again.
Yeah, this is what we thought was an opportunity there for a couple of free kicks to be paid, but Todd Curley, great effort here to kick this goal. He's been kept rather subdued by the Claremont defence, but this was part of the role, and West Perth, wore Claremont down as this quarter went on, and even though they're only able to score 2 goals themselves, they controlled the play, and a lot of their players have been out of touch, were able to get some possessions of the ball, and some of their lesser lights like Wade Starr and players like that have been able to come into the game.
As you can see, Claremont got away to a great start. They consolidated in the second term to set up that 29-point lead at half-time. But the third quarter, and what they rate sometimes as the premiership quarter, did belong to West Perth. And one now just wonders whether they can peg Claremont back even further in this last term. Can Claremont lift and perhaps get a couple of quick goals, because they were in control of this game up until half-time? And one just wonders why they let it slip so much in that third quarter.
Well, I don't think it's slipped too far from them. I think they've still got a lot of control in the game.
But they didn't have the same momentum when they went forward, did they?
No,
Their forwards went out of the game.
Well, it wasn't the momentum. They didn't have the same direction. I think they frittered a few opportunities, and things just didn't quite fall into place. Where I thought the ball bounced a little bit West Perth's way, and these sort of things, it hasn't been a great significant difference in that. But the couple of little things that happened went West Perth's way, and that sort of picked up their momentum and decreased Claremont's dominance. But you still can't take anything away from Claremont. They've still set themselves up. They're leading by 16 points, and there's a lot of football to be played to make up that ground, especially the way the game's been played. With both we know that both of their defences are very, very tight, and it's going to be hard to make some inroads into those defences.
Neesham, of course, he would know the dangers here.
Oh, he'd know the dangers. I mean, I bet he'd love to be out there marshalling his troops now, but he's got very, very experienced players out there that can do the job for him.
That's a blow for Claremont.
Well, it's a problem. He was injured late in the third quarter in a marking contest, Daniel Southern, and Darren Clem is also off the ground. I don't know whether or not he's injured, and West Perth still in a huddle.
Clem really had a great first quarter when he kicked 3 goals. There's Basil Sempelis, who missed out with a groin injury, kicked 5 goals in the second semi-final. Not there today, though. He's watching his teammates as they break for the last time in season 93. Tanya Armstrong's been down listening to Jeff Geishan, very animated, as Mark Brayshaw goes back to his spot. Tanya, what were the thoughts of both coaches?
Well, Jeff Geishan called on a big performance from Derek Hall, Todd Curley and Darren O'Brien. He said they hold the key to victory in the forward line. He said they must shuffle the ball around like they did that quarter. He said they looked good when they did it and move the ball quickly. He said we're fitter than Claremont, they're out on their feet. Jared Neesham said the good news is they have to kick 3 more goals than us to win the game. He said they wasted too many opportunities. He wants them to kick long, take control and keep possession this quarter.
Thanks a lot, Tanya Armstrong. We'll be hearing more from Tanya at the end of the match. We'll be staying on after the game concludes with the Simpson Medal presentation and the medallion presentation and the lap of honour. The last quarter of 1993 gets underway. It's Claremont by 16 points in the grand final, and Burns lays it off to Mildenhall. West Perth into attack. Hendry's there, and he takes a strong mark, opposed by Darren O'Brien.
So Hendry, about 40 metres out from the goal he's defending. First goal will be pretty important here, because it would give Claremont a good break, and it would put West Perth well and truly in the game if they were to get it, as Robbie West soccers it down towards the half-forward line. I'm just trying to pick up what's happened here. I think Peniz has gone to centre-half back. Hall, and Brayshaw has come out to stand Downsborough as Wolf gets in front. Harris tries to soccer it forward. This is Kickett. Good shepherd provided by Han. Not too much happening. Close to the line. Mitchell can't keep it in.
Claremont have also brought Paul Morgan out to centre-half forward along with Joe Smith, so a tall half-forward line there.
And Gerine back in the goal square being marked by Troy West, so a lot of changes have been made from the original lineups.
A lot of changes made since made at three-quarter time as well, probably to cover up those couple of injuries to Claremont.
Mildenhall goes long, back towards the half-forward line. Bounce of the ball favours Hall. Hendry's with him. Burns has it. And he's got support in the form of O'Brien, but he goes on goal and he's missed.
Quite incredible the amount of opportunities they've had, West Perth, in the third quarter. And now Burns again. Never going to be a goal once it left his boot.
Equal scoring shots.
Eight possessions to Ronnie Burns today. Leach puts it back into play. And Edwards gets rid of his marksman, Simmons. And Claremont get away here. Scott Edwards in his 100th game, maybe on report. Kicks towards the wing. Smith a long way down. Met the ball solidly. Good kick across his body. Jones is there in the way. Tried to back his judgment, but didn't bounce his way. Morgan dispossessed. Now a chance for Malone. Oh, he lost it. With him is Nichols and Troy West. Back come Claremont through Muir. Harassed by Nichols. Mitchell overruns it. Muir pushes it out. This is Han now, who found a space.
Oh, look at this.
A teammate loose in Beresford. Very bad checking by the West Perth defenders. And they will pay the penalty for that.
Well, Malone was fiddling there, thought he was looking for a free kick and could almost be knocked off for holding the ball.
Handy kick this one for Claremont. Beresford shoots. He's pulled it. One behind.
Well,
Lucky let off there for West Perth.
The nerves are getting to all players now. We see Burns one in. Now Beresford, ex-captain of Claremont, missing a very, very crucial goal. No more than 25 metres out.
David Muir's been conspicuous by his absence since the first half as Nelson goes up and takes a good mark. Plays on quickly to Nichols. Nichols is almost on centre wing as he kicks towards the half-forward line. Kick it comes at the ball, not favoured by the bounce. Brayshaw was, but Downsborough smothers. There's a few Claremont players that just look a little weary to me. It'll be interesting to see how these two teams run out this game. They've both played 3 games in the final round. West Perth had the bye first up. Claremont had the bye last week as a result of their win in the second semi as Burns goes through the pack. He's able to avoid the tackles. He's penalised now for holding the ball. I'm not sure that the tackle was ever laid properly.
It's a tough call.
It was a big call by the umpire, but they've had pretty good control of the game all day.
So the free kick is with Mark Han. He's looking towards Morgan at centre half forward. He's actually on the centre wing. The kick is going to go close to the boundary line. Mildenhall in front, Morgan up behind.
Wayne Damon off the ground, you saw a moment ago.
Throw in is on left centre wing for the Falcons.
Sandover medalist there on screen, Neil Mildenhall. Nelson and Wolf get tangled up. Malone a chance. It's a hand pass underground to Han, who's worried out of it there by Mifka, who ran out of bounds with the football. Not a great deal happening on this members' side of the ground here. 16 points the difference in favour of the Tigers. They've been in front all day. Nelson with Wolf, who gets it down to the side. Star had a great third quarter, got it out for Mifka. West Perth on the move. Lambourne wants it. He's gone very wide. Lambourne's at the back of Hall. He'll finish up with it if he can rake it in before the boundary line. Len Simons is after him and worries him over the line with the football. So good work there by Simons. Some interesting headgear in the crowd there. 9 possessions. Been on and off the bench today, Lambourne, and looks to be worried with an arm injury.
Well, that's his broken arm. He's done it a couple of times, but he's got some new tape on the knee there now, Trevor.
Might have slipped a bit.
That's out in the full too.
And that's a costly error.
Kickett thinks it's his kick. It's actually West Perth's.
This is Simmons.
Well, that's a... Well, the boundary umpire's gone that way, so...
Yeah, it's not much doubt who's going to get the kick. We couldn't see from here.
So Simmons kicks it high. He's hoping for a mark. Hall was there. Lambourne across his body. Curley tried to shepherd it. West snaps his...
Hit the post.
Hit the post. I thought he might have hit his teammate, but he hit the post. Again, another opportunity missed.
Straight into the base of the post, yes. Short kick in by Brayshaw will find Malone. Dale Kickett's loose if he can get it to him. Oh, he's made life difficult, but it will just carry to Kickett. Claremont work it up to a position between left half-back and left centre wing. They're not playing with a great deal of urgency at the moment. This is Leach, who's now playing up the ground. Oh, maybe he's just followed Curley up.
They wouldn't want to start defending their lead now.
No,
they still
no,
need to attack. I mean, that's the worst trap to fall into, trying to defend a lead like this.
They're not doing anywhere near as much on the forward line as what they were earlier, as players crash in on top of the ball. Claremont not getting anything going. Mifka scoops it wide to Jones. Another Claremont player down. It's Brendan Green. The ball goes towards the centre wing, and O'Brien takes the mark in front of Kickett. He plays on around the man, down towards the half-forward line. Malone in front. That was touched off the boot, obviously, because play on was the call. West Perth coming in pretty hard now. They're trying to work their way back into this game. The margin is 15 points. We've played just over 7 minutes in the final term. Claremont not able to muster anything. West Perth not mustering a great deal more at the moment. Downsborough does best. Brayshaw is a chance. Downsborough again towards the boundary line. Throw in at right half forward for the Falcons. Just between right centre wing and right half forward. It's a good, two good kicks from their goal. Nelson arrives. So does Wolf. Chance at the side of the pack for Green. He's caught by Downsborough. Kickett has it. Chips the pass in towards the centre square. Gary Edwards takes the mark. Hannah's running towards the members' side, but Malone has gone around the outer side.
He's had a lot of possessions, Malone. His ability to get out in his own. There you can see 19 possessions, 10 kicks. 10 and 14. So that's 24 possessions, a very good exhibition.
Not sure what's going on here. That was a good kick to Mitchell in the end, but Claremont not generating any momentum at all. They're stopping all the time, which is giving West Perth a chance to set their defence. Muir is back there. Jerian offers a lead. Mitchell goes for distance. And the player in front, Tuvey, takes the mark.
Timely mark by Rick Tuvey. Been on and off the interchange today as well, as you can see there by the possessions. Hasn't had a great influence. Lambourne behind Mitchell. He lost his footing. Scott Edwards is there for Claremont. They've got plenty of support. Malone drills it back again. Jerian and Freeman and in front. Tuvey misses a sit-up. Gets a hand pass away. The run of Nichols. And West Perth again repelled the attack.
It's a fight.
They're under pressure. Yes, Lambourne and Mitchell. That was a kick.
Mitchell, I'm sorry. Yeah, I think you're right.
In the middle of the ground is Downsborough. He's finally finished up with it. No, he's lost it eventually. Morgan slaps it out. Starr was there, but now Han gets it to Brayshaw. He's a long way down. The kick is offline. Muir's got away from Freeman, but can't hold the mark. Boundary throw in. Muir took a great mark in the first quarter. A lot of people down from the country watching this grand final today. Jones from the side of Jerian and Mifka. Had an outstanding game. Green close to the boundary.
Oh.
Almost got his kick into that. Smith gets a second chance. Kicks it straight up in the air towards centre half forward. Han!
Very courageous mark.
Centre half forward. Maybe a shade in front and 50 metres out when he kicks this. He had to hold his ground because big Craig Nelson was thundering in.
I thought Craig was pretty fair about it too. He could have done more damage than that, couldn't he?
19 possessions to Mark Hand. He's had a better day than I thought. Drop punt on the way. Won't reach. Jerian's in the pack. Big pack up. Off hands. Push through. Game's at a bit of a stalemate.
So West Perth supporters breathe a sigh of relief. And Freeman has the chance to clear the danger zone. Kicks it in short, and he's found Nichols. Nichols moving up towards the half-back line. No one will go to him. And then he kicks into Smith. Gives Claremont another chance. He comes back to try and redeem himself. Looks for the boundary line. Scott Edwards is there, and he sweeps it over the line. Nichols is down with cramp.
And Green's come off. Brendan Green's off for Claremont, and Darren Clem's gone back on the ground.
Throw in at left half forward for the Tigers. The next goal now becoming even more important. It's knocked in the direction of Mitchell. He's able to get round Nichols, who's cramped. The ball close to the line out there, and Mifka's content to take it over. There's Brendan Green.
There are some tired players. Brendan Green coming off for what I think was a well-earned rest, but Mitchell and other players who were just in that last contest are very, very tired.
Starr can't get away with the ball. Chance in there for Beresford. Gets it in the direction of Clem. Good Shepherd's provided for him. Back towards full forward, and Gerine misses what he should have taken. Freeman looks for the boundary. Jones looks for the boundary line. Throwing inside the 50-metre line. They need more from Chris Gerine. He was in the box seat then.
Claremont haven't kicked a goal for 40 minutes in this match, but still lead. And a free kick here to Nelson. $16 points the difference. Tuvey from the half-back line, kicks towards the wing, and Brendan Henry slides into it, can't mark. Edwards was caught, goes back over his head. Brayshaw and O'Brien get tangled up. O'Brien goes to the ground. Burrowing in there is Malone, but Harris finishes up with it. Drives along the boundary to Hall.
Look at Green.
Now West Perth can move.
Green to 2 on to 1.
It's Green from the side, and at the back Curley. Green! Spectacular mark.
He's played it. Well, there's nothing Leach could do there.
He was outnumbered. He knew he was in big trouble, and Green is a pretty good marker anyway. But Curley was waiting for those crumbs. It's a good mark to Trevor Green. This will put the cat amongst the pigeons. Drop punt. He's kicked the goal. Margin is 10 points now. Crowd erupt here.
Well, how often do you see it, Trevor, where that one side is dominated in their forward line for 5 or 6, even 8 minutes, and then the ball's turned over, gone into the West Perth forward line, and then they kick a goal straight away. That always happens. You can bet your boots on it. That's the type of situation. And here, Quentin Leach had no hope of marking 2 players. One Claremont defender had obviously gone missing, and Green was able to chip in there, take a very good mark and kick a very telling goal. Hasn't had a lot of touches all day.
The last close grand final was 1985 when East Fremantle beat Subiaco by 5 points. And I'm pretty sure, Walter, this is going to go pretty close to that margin.
Yes, it's going to be a close game. 10 points the margin at the moment. And it would be a major concern to Jared Neesham that he's not able to kick goals.
There's cousin Freddie.
Bounce down, back in the centre. West Perth chipping away. The crowd starting to get involved. Wolf goes up, but it's taken by Milden Hall, who's grabbed around the ears. He has a habit of ducking his head when he's tackled.
Yeah, he did then too.
And he gets away with it. The kick goes to the half-forward line. Kick it up in front. Burns at ground level. Trevor Green wants it again. I think I'd go looking for him, and they have. Spoiled from behind by Brayshaw. This is Henry. Gets it to Panizza. Panizza will go short in the direction of kick it, and it only just gets to him. Malone is loose if he can get it to him. He has. Harris closing on him.
Good spoil.
Good spoil. He did it without interfering. Hand pass infielders to Hand, who's going up and down on the spot. Finds a little bit extra and puts it to the half-forward line, and Morgan takes a good mark. Oh, he took Muir out with him.
He took it out of Muir's hands.
And Muir is limping as he goes away from the scene. Wolf is off. Green is back on.
Heavy collision there.
Morgan goes towards full forward. It will land in the square. Gerine at the back. Mitchell runs onto the ball. Can he control it? They're coming at him from all directions. His kick is brilliantly smothered. Inspirational stuff by Peter Freeman. And perhaps that could be the turning point of this grand final. Although his kick has gone straight to a Claremont player and Scott Edwards. Not favoured by the bounce, but he can recover. He gets around the oncoming player and gives it to Panizza. Panizza looks towards half forward. They're messing around Claremont. They've lost their confidence. He goes towards the centre square. This is Malone. Malone's kick is towards full forward. Morgan in front. Freeman from behind. Beresford onto the ball.
Someone's got
knocked on towards Muir, and Gerine kicks the goal. Well, did Claremont make hard work of that?
Well, they had to score. They had 4 players around the ball, and they almost muffed it in the end. I mean, the gods were running with West Perth, and they have been for the last 5 or 6 minutes, but there, he just failed them. They finessed with the ball a lot here, Claremont, as they always do. But on this occasion, they got away with it. You can see 4 Claremont players around this ball, and only Rick Tuvey there to cause any problems. The ball was pushed forward. Gerine, one of his very few possessions for the day, has kicked a very, very telling goal.
Clem going nowhere in the middle of the ground. Ran into a falling star.
Well, that's Claremont's
Lamborn off again.
As you said, first goal for 45 minutes, and it was
a telling goal, isn't it?
Very, very hard earned as well.
A very telling goal, that one. Nelson slaps it forward. Panizza, last goal was set up by him. He's found the safety of the boundary. on the outer side of the ground. 16, maybe 17 minutes gone in this game.
I think West
The last
Perth can
quarter.
come again, Trevor. I really think that they can. There's a feeling out there, coming through, that the players, that's only taken a little bit of momentum out of their push forward.
Edwards, Scott Edwards, he's run down, brilliant tackle, holding the ball. He doesn't like it either. It's got to be 50 metres.
Hang on.
Well, umpires let it go. The free kick was there. Good tackle by Starr.
Oh.
Harris has kicked towards full forward, and Kickett takes a spectacular mark.
Did you see why there was no 50 metres?
No.
Oh, well, you should have watched the replay, perhaps.
There's Malone loose again.
Kickett goes short, and Robbie Malone has worked tirelessly. Claremont are fiddling in the defence here. It's gone back to Kickett, which is very negative. What happened with Edwards?
Well, Starr's given him a good one to the midriff.
Did he? I didn't see that. Burns collected by Clem, and the ball collected by Hand. Kickett. Gary Edwards could get sandwiched. He's caught. Got it away to Clem. Sweeping now to Hendry. Kickett's gone up the ground. This will be inspirational. He always does something very clever. Long kick. Freeman's there. Carries him. He's tipped the goal. Kickett's kicked a beauty.
I think that's called taking matters into your own hands, isn't it?
Yeah, well, he's just the sort of player that can do it.
Well, how many times throughout the season when we've been calling Claremont, we said they hold onto the ball, they'll work it backwards, they go sideways, they'll kick it over in the grandstand until they can get a good possession and then go forward. And that's exactly what they did. And hasn't this fella got some confidence? Kick it. I mean, he's 2 or 3 times, teammates are really set up with questionable handballs. But here, Kickett, he just went on with the job. He kept running, and Gerine did a real good job on the Shepherd here. Well,
It's really the goal of the match.
maybe that's made it a little bit hard for West Perth. I thought that they still had a chance before that goal, but that might just
I think they've still got a very big chance. The ball is out in favour of West. Don't underestimate them. They've come up to this position because of the spirit that exists in the team and the club, and I'm sure it will see them through to the final siren. As the kick goes towards centre wing, Malone is on his own. He steadies and props down in the direction of Mitchell, who got Mifka under the ball, and the ball sat beautifully for him. He could have gone to Morgan. In fact, maybe he did. Oh, Gerine's taken the mark at the top of the square.
Well, you were calling the game, but what I was going to say with West Perth, and you said they still had chances, they haven't got a Kickett in their side that can do what he did.
Sure. Well, Gerine, and I'd like to see his match statistics in terms of possessions. There you go.
Quiet day.
He's kicked.
More kicks up here.
Well, he's kicked. What was it? Their second last goal. He shepherded the last one through, and could now kick the goal that could almost be the sealer. It's an ironical game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, let's see what West Perth can muster from here, because they still have time. We're not quite at the 20-minute mark of this final term. They're 28 points in arrears now, so certainly they have the task in front of them as Simmons prepares to come back onto the ground.
Some good body work there from Kevin Mitchell to get that ball forward to Gerine, but you can't help but admire that the way Robbie Malone has worked through the centre. I mean, he's been a master tactician of getting out on his own, and the players look for him. He's been able to dictate Claremont's forward moves across that centre line. He plays very wide, but he's been a very, very good player for Claremont.
West Perth got the margin back to 10 points. They couldn't do much from there on, and now Claremont have extended their lead to 28. They're in the box seat and they're running hard. They've got a sniff of victory now. Gerine again with Freeman, but across the front, Troy West takes a beautiful mark. There it is again. Clutched it into his shoulder, really. They kicked the half-back, Mitchell and Starr out there. Mitchell slaps it to the advantage of Beresford. Almost caught by Tuvey, and Tuvey finishes up with it at half-back. Good shepherd by Damon. The kick to the wing, and Robbie West plays on quickly with a torpedo. From the side, the leaper was Harris, but the ball finishes up with Simons. Not a good hand pass. Brayshaw had to wait for that. Hooks it across his body, but he saw Hand loose here at half-back. Mark Hand kicks towards the wing. Downsborough makes a contest with Kickett. Knocks it to centre half forward. Trevor Green for the long time and bumped off it now by Simons. Simons and Green get tangled up there. Or is it Simmons? Simmons and Simons. Sixes and sevens. $28 points. Claremont should see this out from here. Green to the members' wing and Malone. Great last quarter. Damon arrives to make a contest and spoiled effectively. Malone comes back and pushes towards the boundary and finds it. Malone, first of all, was in the box seat. Damon did well. Then Malone again at the second attempt. Green's on the ball, tackled by Smith, or Downsborough it is. And now umpire Cronje coming in to bounce it down. The sting is gone, I think, Noel.
Out of the West Perth game it has.
They mustered the challenge and got within 10, and it was then that one sense they might have gone on, but it was snuffed out by that brilliant effort by Kickett, I think. Gary Edwards does well to Morgan. Sold the dummy and got it to Green, but he's lost it now to Burns, who can't find the handle. Morgan gets rid of him. No kick there. Mitchell. Again, the boundary line looms up. Measham, I think, realises this game's now well within his keeping. But he wouldn't release the pressure.
Oh, never.
He's been in 10 of the last 11 grand finals as a player or coach. Grand final day is his day. Mifka misses it. One of the few mistakes that he's made. Caught there by Green, got away from him at the finish. Clem went looking for West. The ball finishes up with Nichols. He's kicked the centre half forward. Oh, kick it again. Took it out of Green's hands.
Well, he was the Simpson medalist in the 91 grand final, as we mentioned earlier, and he's been the difference between these two teams in the final quarter. Just a couple of things that he's done. As Noel Carter said, he's the one player on the ground that can lift a team, can do something different. And he certainly did something different with a couple of marks, and in particular a goal just beyond the halfway mark of this term. Gary Edwards drives towards full forward. Gerine was too worried about where everyone else was. He's dragged to ground by Freeman. The ball skirts free, picked up by Tuvey. Freeman again, who's been a very good defender this afternoon for West Perth, clears the ball to the outer side. First to it will be Scott Edwards. Malone wants it in the pocket. He goes towards centre half forward. Beresford is in the gap. Misses what he should have taken. A lot of very tired players out there now. It comes to Muir. Now Robbie West. He unloads and gets the ball the full length of the centre square. Kick it at the back. Brayshaw over the top. Chance for Brayshaw again. Kick it. Cool. Panizza out wide to Hendry. And Claremont out of trouble again as the foot pass finds Gary Edwards.
There's men loose everywhere. They have a great habit of creating that loose man, Claremont.
Well, we're almost to time on now. Gee, he's had a good game, Gary Edwards. Almost to time on now as the kick favours Green. It's Brendan Green. Mildenhall went back on him, but there was little he could do about it. And I think it's beyond West Perth now. It's been a very brave performance by them. Oh, he's taken it off Brendan Green and given it to Mildenhall.
It's a bit soft.
So the Sandover medalist hasn't been one of his more influential days, but he's had a terrific season, Neil Mildenhall, as he kicks around the outer side of the ground. Tuvey not able to control it. It's knocked away towards Hall on the boundary line, and Malone collars Hall, and that could almost be a free kick. Nope. So there will be a throw-in just outside Claremont's 50-metre line. I was about to say a terrific effort by West Perth throughout this season. Their sentimental journey has come to a close, I suspect, as Edwards gets the ball infield to Clem, and now Beresford. Good shepherd, and they find Morgan. But a terrific performance by Claremont. This will be the 4th premiership to Gerard Neesham, the first as a playing coach, the next 3 as a non-playing coach. And they really have been the dominant team in the WAFL through the 80s and into the 90s. Morgan lines up from 50 metres. Oh, interesting.
Slips.
They might still get away with a goal. Malone went without it. The tempo and the standard really have dropped now as Beresford pulls it back, and I think he's kicked. No, he's just missed it.
Yes, Claremont. Winners in 81, 87, 89 and 91. West Perth's first appearance in 75. It's going to be a losing one, unfortunately. Smith charges through. Mitchell lost it. West is there with Green, socket by Damon, but Muir ricochets it towards Green somehow. The kick goes straight up in the air. Malone camped underneath it. Girine snaps. He's there again. He's had a good last term. And the kick to the half-back line. Mifka in hand. And used his body on Paul Mifka there. And another boundary throw in.
Paul Mifka gone out of the game in the second half, I thought. Very influential in the first half.
In the first half, he needed to be there. They were under pressure, weren't they? Nelson and Smith. And now Hand skirting the pack. Looks for Morgan. The bounce will be crucial here. Morgan nonchalantly attacked that football. As the clock winds down on the 1993 season, we'll have the presentations after the match. And the Claremont Tigers have done it again.
Trev, we've only seen 6 goals in the second half. Both teams have kicked 3, and I mean, you wouldn't imagine that a team could win a premiership with 3 second half goals, would
15. He knows he's got the victory in his grasp. Jared Neesham. Malone snaps and misses.
Well, throughout the year, games between these sides haven't traditionally been high-scoring games. I think in one game, West Perth kicked 18 and Claremont kicked 15, but in all the other games, no one scored more than 15 goals, and it's probably indicative of the strength of both backlines for both sides.
Nelson still working at the bottom of the pack, as he's done for most of the season, the last few seasons. Damon sold the dummy, and then a foot past the half forward. Bad bounce there for Green. Runs in straight through Smith. Kick it again. Mitchell again. They've combined pretty well. And Kevin Mitchell looks for Morgan here. He's got the sit, hasn't got the mark. Jones has got the crumbs, and he's got good backup from Nichols. He runs to centre half back. Not a good kick. Ill-directed. Lands with Scott Edwards, who's had a good game. Yes, remarkable season by West Perth. From last to minor premiers. But the run ending today. And now a whole new era opens up for them with the move to Joondalup next year. And Claremont all smiles as the clock runs down on this final quarter.
And the last time we'll see these famous colours playing in the name of West Perth, Trevor.
Yes, Joondalup Falcons, but I think I might still call them West Perth.
I think a lot of people will have trouble not doing that.
I'm still calling them Cardies. There it is! Claremont have won the grand final, 13-14-92. The West Perth 8-14-62. Neesham all smiles. His players have done it for him again. He's a master coach, a master tactician. He had the players at his disposal, and they've also come from nowhere, battling out for the wooden spoon with West Perth last year, and now top of the Wazza again in 1993, and it's a very happy bunch of players. Clinton Wolfe congratulates Brian Beresford as they go into a huddle. Claremont the victors. The sentimental favourites, West Perth, couldn't quite do it today, but Nelson quick to congratulate the victors here today. Daryl Panizza, disappointment for Jones. Had a great final round series. Bad luck for Starr. But the triumphant Tigers will celebrate long and hard tonight, and West Perth left to wonder just what went wrong on the big day. Freeman, great last quarter, inspirational when he smothered a ball there that could have turned it over, as Wally said, but it just didn't eventuate. And Daryl Panizza again relishing this moment of glory. 62 plays 92, 30 points the final margin in favour of the Tigers. Noel, your best players today?
Well, in a tough game, dominated by backlines, I thought that Robbie Malone, with his ability to get out on his own and create things for Claremont, I mean, I'm sure he had the most possessions on the ground. He worked very hard, and for mine, he was one of the Claremont's better players. Along with Gary Edwards, I thought very tireless worker through the middle of the ground as well. Scott Edwards.
Just hang on a sec, Noel. We've got Jared Neesham with Tanya Armstrong.
Jared, you've become...
We did have Tanya. You can go on with your best players, Noel.
Scott Edwards. I thought both the Edwards boys, even though they're not related, were very, very strong through the middle of the ground. Dale Kickett through the defence, kept them together, along with Southern before he got injured, and Daryl Peniza, their captain, and Brendan Green was very, very busy around the ground. On the other hand, West Perth, I thought they were well served by Greg Jones. He worked very, very hard across the half-back line. Darren Harris was at the bottom of every pack, and I thought as the game went on, players like Wade Starr and the lesser lights of West Perth really battled hard, but couldn't find a couple of their really important players to put in their best.
As Geishan consoles his players, Tanya Armstrong again has found Jared Neesham.
Jared, you've become Claremont's most successful coach. How does it compare to your other 3 premierships?
Oh, they're all fantastic at this stage of the game. But I think it's been the best premiership I've ever been involved with because of where we've come from. 2.5 wins in the first round and a lot of young players and brand new players. And for them to have come this far in a year to get first to the grand final, then to stand up and win a grand final against the good teams, a great effort.
A lot of people wrote you off earlier in the season. You seem to change direction. You switched Dale Kickett to a half-back flank and made a few switches that came off.
Yeah, I think yeah, I know the game we changed, and we try to stick to that philosophy that we actually changed midstream and played a stronger style of football, and I think we saw, you know, bits of it today, but not a lot of it.
Jared, the second half would have caused you a few concerns.
To say the least, I was quite nervous. I mean, as I said, it was just a big grand final, you know. To have such a young team and to come so far, it was terrific.
Thanks for your cooperation during the year. I'll let you go and join the festivities.
Well, West Perth still found some voice to sing. I don't know what song it was. It might have been a farewell song, but they found some voice in there. Very disappointed bunch. There's nothing worse than losing a grand final, Noel. Is there any worse feeling?
No, there's not much. Losing your job, probably. But no.
That might be next.
No, a couple of, you know, I mean, the problem is losing them. You can't come back and make up for it. You can never go back there and win that one.
Well, they're about to be presented.